an epidemic of mass murder being committed by a virtual army of unidentified assassins. It seems to be a sudden, general explosion of mass homicide. Consistent reports from witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered.
Incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria. First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent. Officials and newsmen first discounted their eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, reports persisted. Medical examinations of some of the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured. I think we have some late word that's just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed. We're able to report a definite course of action. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
No longer seek occupancy in private residences, no matter how safe or well protected they may be.
They use everybody caught maybe 5% of the food available in the human body.
The kind of thing.
With that small amount, the body is usually intact enough to be mobile when it revives.
What are you saying? I mean, you're scientists.
Dummies!
You're suggesting...
Dummies! Dummies!
Excuse me. Listen, quiet.
One wonders whether it's worth saving. Why don't we drop bombs in all the big cities?
You're probably serious.
I'm deadly serious. What are the choices? They won't run out of food, young lady. That's the problem, you see. And they won't run out of food while we're still alive.
We can lift you out to safety. Please answer my call if you can hear me.
We've got to remain logical. We've got to. There's no choice. It has to be. It's that or the end.
Hey, it's Greg Nicotero. You are, or if you're not, should be watching Alpha Romero on YouTube.
What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday night to you. Crack one open. It's the weekend. It's Saturday night, baby. Crack open in Iron City. Share with you fine folks. That's what I needed. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's doing well. Enjoying their weekend. Spring is almost here. The winter weather is starting to dissipate, and the spring weather is upon us. It's still a little chilly, still a little crisp here, but it's a whole hell of a lot better than some of the weather we've had over the past few months. So it's almost here. And of course, the arrival of spring means we are inching closer to Living Dead weekend in June. So that's kind of the big thing that all us Romero fans are looking forward to. So yeah, good times are ahead. Good times are ahead. Tonight, let's talk toys or dolls or action figures or whatever you guys want to call it. Let's do a little show and tell. Let's talk about some of the Romero figures out there. That's actually one of the big collectible things that I started collecting right off the bat. Like, I first started my collection, like that was the big thing. That's kind of always my go-to thing at first was action figures, different action figures, custom figures, all the officially licensed stuff. So I got a ton of stuff. I have a nice little pile of shit here that we can look at here in a little bit and talk about, and some pretty cool custom stuff that I don't know how many of you guys have seen before. And there's some news out there of some new figures coming out soon that we're going to take a little look at here in just a little bit. And plus, we're going to be doing a little unboxing tonight too. This is the Jordy Verrill figure, the Creepshow figure, the new one from MONSTARZ that is up for grabs with the March Madness King of the Zombies bracket contest that is currently going on. It's still open. If you guys want to register, join in on the contest, submit your brackets. And tonight I'm going to submit mine live here on the show. We're going to go through matchup by matchup. I'm going to fill out my entire bracket and submit it, just kind of show you guys how it works. And you know, the contest registration's open until tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. The contest is open. Any and all welcome to join and submit your picks. And the winner of the contest will receive whatever's in this box here. And we're going to take a look at that here a little bit later on as well. But let's check the chat. Who all we got in here tonight? Hope everybody's doing well. Synth Addict, what's going on, Synth? Since earlier today, I need to up my Romero toy game. I have none currently. Well, there's a lot out there. There's quite a few. There's quite a few Dawn figures, a few Day figures that may be changing soon. There may be some. There's quite a few Night of the Living Dead figures out there. Creepshow. We need some Martin figures. I need a Cuda figure. That'd be a good topic of discussion tonight. What Romero figures do not exist that we need a toy of, damn it. But good to see you, Santa. I hope you're doing well, my man. Ed Trader, Music and Entertainment, what's up, Ed? Says, as Jesse Ventura would say, wrestling dolls. It's the wrestling dolls, McMahon. I'm out here in the Baja, off the grid. Nobody can find me. I love Jesse. Have you ever heard the Jesse Ventura impression that Will Sasso does? It's spot on, perfect. It's fucking hilarious. But yes, we're gonna be talking about some dolls, McMahon. What's up, Ed? Good to see you. The man himself, Stukas Dive, is in the house. What's going on, Stukas? Think about a zombie. He's got lifeless eyes like a doll's eyes. That is very true. They are just kind of dummies in a way. So good point. Time 1019 Vision. What's up, man? Glad you're able to join us. Good evening, he says. Check out his channel. Anybody that's not following his channel, highly recommend going and subscribing to his channel. He does a ton of really awesome Romero covers, some Goblin stuff. There's Fulci stuff on there. I mean, it's one of my favorite channels on YouTube. I always look forward to seeing what he's got coming out. And he does like some really cool like visual aids, some really cool videos to go along with it. I highly recommend giving this guy Time 1019 Vision. Go give him a sub. It's really cool stuff. I find myself going back to his channel quite often just to watch a lot of stuff. So definitely check him out. Good to see you, man. I'm glad you're able to drop in tonight. Thank you very much, Stu. It's a great intro. Yeah, I think that's one I'm going to stick with for a little bit until I get bored and want to play around, do something different. But I think it's cool. I think it sums up My idea was that it would sum up perfectly the entire trilogy of the Romero zombie films, like starting from night going to day, and kind of seeing, the zombies, kind of grow and expand and take over everything and kind of follow through like all the, which is like the big thing that really separates Romero's stuff for me from a lot of other zombie films out there, is Romero's use of like television and radio and stuff like that. I mean, Dawn opens in a TV station, and that stuff always I don't know, rang true to me. I don't know. It works for me that way. I think it makes it more scary, because I remember when I was a kid, there used to be like the emergency broadcast network, like when we'd have a tornado warning or something like that, that would just come up on the screen and be like this automated voice, this like staticky automated voice would come over and be like, an emergency has been declared in your area. Please tune to channel 6 for all the details and all that stuff. And when you see that in the films like that, like when I hear that, I'm just like, oh, it takes me back to when I was a kid and hearing those, those tornado warnings and all that shit. So yeah, I've always loved that aspect of Romero's films, so I wanted to kind of incorporate that and use that in something. And I think honestly, the best use of that really, that was really true to life was Tom Savini's Night 90, when they, Harry plugs in the TV and it's on the emergency broadcast system thing. Like, that looks real. Like, that's kind of what it looked like back in the day on our local channels or whatnot. So that always, I thought, was, perfect the way that they did that, and effective. I don't know. Something about that just gives me chills, just because, I mean, when you're a kid and you get an emergency broadcast, warning that a tornado is headed your way. I mean, I grew up in Kentucky, so I'm used to tornadoes and all that shit. So, but yeah, I don't know. This is a long tangent about the intro there, and Romero's use of television and radio through his films to kind of convey what's going on in the outside world, which is brilliant, because it's low budget films like that. You can't really depict, cities and maybe by day, they did that in Fort Myers, but with low budgets and shit like that, you can't really depict the end of the world any way better than just watching it through TV or listening to it on the radio. So, but yeah, there's a long-winded tangent to start out tonight. Bonnie Bailey, what's going on, Bonnie? How are you? Good to see Bonnie coming to us live from the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. Bonnie wants to know, is that good beer? You know what? I'm kind of a beer snob. Like, I really like darker beers, like a lot of stouts. Guinness is kind of my favorite beer. But for a regular, just like lager beer, like it's pretty good. I mean, I like it. I don't know if it's just my preference to Pittsburgh and Iron City beer in general, but for just like a regular, common man's beer, the beer drinker's beer, Iron City's pretty good. I like it better than Budweiser or anything like that. So yeah, it's pretty good. And it doesn't have that like bitter, shitty aftertaste to me either. But yeah, I like it. It's hard to find, but if you're in the Pittsburgh area, I definitely recommend checking it out. Rick, the North Going Llama's in the house. What's going on, Rick? Good to see Rick as always. We got 1911 Guitar Dude, Mr. Brett Aitkins in the house as well. How you doing, Brett? Good to see you. The man himself, Mr. John Vulo, is in the house. John, I mentioned you in a comment the other day on one of the videos. Somebody mentioned the zombie in the elevator with that has like the denim when Flyboy gets bit and he's got like that fucked up face. I don't know if anybody's ever really pinpointed who that guy is or figured that guy is, and I was like, you know what, that sounds like a job for Vulo. So maybe one of these days we'll look into that. That'd be an interesting one to find out, because I think that's one of the most underrated zombies, and I guess the people call him like the Andy Warhol zombie or something like that. One of the most underrated zombies in all of Romero's films is that guy. Just the look and there's just something really awesome about that zombie, and nobody knows who he is. That, not as far as I know. I don't know, that maybe somebody has figured that out and I just don't know about it, but always good to have John in the house. Mayor's in the house. What's going on, Mayor? Always good to have the mayor amongst us common folk, coming stopping in, see what's going on. But he says I wanted to prefer a stout as well. Yeah, I grew up on that. Like when I first, like I didn't drink in my, like when I was in high school, like my teenage years. Like I was straight edge all through high school and all that. And then when I got out of high school, started a band with this guy who was a little older than us, and he was like the best bass player in our town. So we desperately wanted him in our band. And he said, you know, well, I mean, I'd love to be in a band with you guys, but if I'm going to be in a band with you guys got to drink with me. And me and my buddy Eric, we were both straight edge all through high school. Like we were just like, we don't smoke, drink, we don't do none of that. But you know, by the time we reached 19, 20 years old, we were starting this band, and the best bass player in town, a guy we idolized, who's in one of my all-time favorite bands. It was a local band called Calico Jack. When he says you got to drink with me, I'm like, all right, we'll try it. We'll give it a shot. And he was all about like stouts and the darker beers, like Left Hand Blackjack Stout was I think the first beer I ever tried, and that shit is strong. So that's what I was kind of groomed on from the beginning. So that's kind of what I'm used to, kind of what I prefer. Rick's doing good, very very good. Awesome. So I got everybody here. One thing I want to talk about real quick, something I did today. I went out, picked up a few new Blu-rays and 4Ks for the collection. Couple of movies here. One horror film and then a couple of films from a filmmaker that I think is very underrated. And I love both of these movies, and I think they're almost pitch perfect. But I picked these up today at the local Mega Replay. All three Criterion releases, three great films that I did not own before now, which I did own this first film that we're going to talk about. Did own this on DVD, but I hadn't upgraded it, and I found this, it was the 4K and Blu-ray combo. And how many of you guys have seen Peter Bogdanovich's Paper Moon? One of my all-time favorite movies. Found this today. It's pretty cool. It's got like it's like the cigar box that, you know, Tatum O'Neal carries around. It's got like a little poster, and it's got it's the photo that she has of Addie Pray. I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I just rewatched it again today after I got it, and it's literally the ultimate like girl dad movie. Like the whole time I'm watching, I'm just grinning, and I'm just like, oh man, this is like heartwarming shit. Because it's brilliant. If you guys haven't seen the movie, it's based off of a book called Addie Pray, and Tatum O'Neal and Ryan O'Neal play father-daughter, and Tatum was like 9, 10 at the time, something like that. They play a father-daughter characters, but they never admit it. Like, he will never admit that he's actually her father, and she's always suspicious, and they got the same jawline and all that. But basically, he's a con artist going around. It's during the time of the Great Depression, and he's a con artist that's going around. That's how he makes his money. He goes around conning people and stuff. And she kind of he's forced to take her to her aunt's house after her mom dies. And so they kind of team up. It's really cute, really a great movie, because it's one of those movies that's set like in the Great Depression time, like the 30s, probably late 30s, early 40s. It's set during that time, and it's also filmed as if it were made in that time. Like, it feels like a movie from that time period. If you guys have never seen Paper Moon, I can't recommend it enough. I mean, it's one of my all-time favorite movies, seriously. And then another film from Peter Bogdanovich that came out a couple of years before that, which is another film that I absolutely love, and it kind of falls in that same kind of category, is The Last Picture Show, with Jeff Bridges. And I mean, it's a star-studded cast. We got Jeff Bridges, Ellen Burstyn, Cloris Leachman, Sybil Shepherd, and this is 71, and Paper Moon 73, so this is right around the same time. And it's another film that's set in the 50s in a small town in Texas, I think. And you hear like Hank Williams and stuff playing all through it. But yeah, it's another one that's shot and looks almost exactly like if it was actually made in the 50s. So I picked both of those up today, and Peter Bogdanovich is, you know, one of my really underrated. He did the documentary, the Tom Petty documentary, Running Down a Dream, which is one of my all-time favorite musical documentaries. Can't recommend both of these enough. Last Picture Show, Paper Moon, both Criterion releases. Haven't watched The Last Picture Show yet, but and this is a 4K too, I believe. Yeah. Yes, both of them are 4K. Haven't watched the Last Picture Show yet, but Paper Moon looks awesome. Both in black and white. Like I said, they both look of the period in which they take place. Let me set these over here out of the way. And then the other movie that I picked up today, this is a Blu-ray. It's a nice little set here from Criterion. It's a film I'd never seen before, but it's one that I've always heard of and always heard about. It's one of the original vampire flicks. I think ever. It's from Germany. It's a German film called Vampire. Never seen it before. Didn't know anything about it, but I mean, it's a nice thick little set. It's got a book in here with the screenplay and all kinds of good stuff. I mean, it was like $20, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pick this up and try it because it looks fantastic. I mean, this was 1932, so maybe about a decade or so after the original Nosferatu came out. So I mean, this is right from the jump. And I was watching it today for the first time. It's kind of a silent film. It's like half silent, half audio. I mean, there's some dialogue in it, but it mostly plays out kind of like a silent film. But one thing that jumped out at me from like right at the get-go is like the film begins with a guy. He's walking. He's kind of he's into the occult and all that, and he ends up at this like hotel. It's like an inn somewhere in the German countryside or something like that. And for the very first scene, and it stood out to me, very first scene in the movie, he walks up to this inn. He's kind of looking around through the windows and the doors, trying to see if anybody's there. And all of a sudden, somebody from above, a woman from above, looks out the window and is like, "Hey, can I help you?" And he's like, "Hey, I want to stay here." And looking up, and she's looking down, and she just says, "Okay, go around to the side. Go around to the side." And I was like, "Wait a minute. That's Martin, and that's from fucking Martin. When Amplis is walking, delivering the meats to the lady at the house, he's just kind of looking around the house, trying to see if anybody's home, and then she's up top, and she says, go around to the side, go around to the side." I was like, holy shit, that like matches perfectly. If you guys haven't seen Vampire, like I said, it's a little over an hour long. It's a very quick watch. It is old, like I said, it's 32. I mean, it is a little slow at times. It's hard, I'm sure, for more modern eyes like mine to kind of. I tried to imagine, like, how did people in the 30s react to this? And there is some really, really creepy visuals, and it's really plays out kind of like like an early gothic experimental horror film. It's pretty interesting, and if you're a horror fan or a horror historian and you kind of want to go back and see some of these films from back in the day, you definitely got to check out Vampire. It's a film by Carl Theodor Dreyer. Never heard of him before, but yeah, I highly recommend checking it out if you get a chance to. If you want to see kind of the birth of the modern vampire. And it got me thinking too. It's like with zombies, that's we talk about zombies and Romero and stuff here, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something else out there. But are zombies the monster of a zombie? Is that the first specifically like American born monster? Because I mean, you think like vampires, like they're more like German. Eastern European, the Transylvania, that type of stuff. Werewolves, kind of the same thing. Zombies may be like the only American specific monster in movies, kind of in literature or anything else. I mean, it was kind of an American born thing. Can you guys think of any other American specific like horror creatures, monsters, anything like that I'm not thinking of? But yeah, check it out. Vampire. Pretty cool little set here. And like I said, there's some really, really haunting imagery in this movie too, especially for the 30s. And a lot of it you'll probably be thinking like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? Like I was kind of confused as well. I was like, what is this? And you got to think like, oh, this is just like an early attempt at experimental horror movie making, I guess. But yeah, enjoyable. Definitely worth checking out for sure. Let's see here. John says, I definitely don't know, but I agree. All those elevator zombies are important because it's a major scene, and They ought to give it to randoms. Yeah, yeah. Also, I don't think any of them are in any other scenes. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Some of the most iconic zombies, because I mean, you see that photo all the time of them, or the shot of them, the elevator doors opening and they all come in. All of those, you gotta. Maybe that's like a thing that somebody needs to work on, whether it's you or me or somebody needs to work on tracking those down, because we figured out Bill Keys. Bill Keys was at Living Dead Weekend last year. He actually did the squib in the mall. It's kind of like a photo op. I mean, it was pretty cool. I wonder, I'd kind of maybe talk to him. Maybe he knows who some of those people are. I don't know, but yeah, that's a really good point. Somebody, it'd be important, interesting information to figure that out at some point, if possible. Since then, that tall, lanky, goofy denim zombie in the elevator looked a lot like one of my high school friends. We always teased him about it. Was it him? I mean, maybe it was him. I don't know. I don't know if he would have flown over from California to do that, but I mean, I've always heard him referred to as like the Andy Warhol zombie, because he kind of has that look. But I don't know how he did because if you look at him, his jaw is like, and he's got like this crunched up looking face. It's a really, really awesome looking zombie, but like nobody's really ever mentioned who it is or where he came from or anything. How the thing worked. Was it a prosthetic that Savini used to get his face to look like that? I mean, or was it just like him? I'd love to know. I'd love to know that. Stuka saying shit, Paper Moon. Paper Moon, I remember my dad making me watch that. Bible salesman. Yeah, he's a Bible salesman. He goes door to door, or he finds the widows of people, of like, whose husbands have died, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I was just talking to him, and he bought this Bible for you, and he gave me the deposit, but now I just need the rest, but you don't have to take it, blah blah. And he kind of, and there's all kinds of little cons and stuff in that movie that are really, really fun and interesting. It's such a great movie, and Tatum O'Neal is amazing in that movie for like a kid actress. I mean, she would go on and do like the Bad News Bears and all that, but I think she would go on to have some issues. If I remember correctly, but she's like, they're just pitch perfect together in that movie. Madeline Kahn's got a role in it. It's just great stuff. And Madeline Kahn, I mean, speaking of movies that are set in a certain time and are filmed and shot to look like that, Young Frankenstein is another one that's kind of like that. I remember seeing Young Frankenstein when I was a kid and thinking that was a movie from the 30s, original Universal movie or something, because it looks spot on like it. I can't think of any other movies, like modern films, like movies today that pull that off. Like I know a lot of movies try to give that 70s look or the 80s look, stuff like that, but everything's shot on digital now, so it's kind of you just put like a filter over it and kind of make it look certain ways. I don't know, but nothing really hits kind of like those Bogdanovich movies or Young Frankenstein or those types. Not for me, at least. He says it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I don't remember much. Go back and rewatch it. Were there any of those? Paper Moon, Last Picture Show. All those are just classic Bogdanovich films. Senses not to be crass, but Sybil gets nude in that one. Yeah. There's a scene where they all kind of get nude, and it really stands out because it's shot. It's set in the 50s. It kind of looks like it was shot in the 50s. It has. A film that was shot in the 50s vibe. Like, it has that 50s vibe. And then all of a sudden, everybody starts getting naked and jumping in the pool, and you're like, whoa. Like, that's different. It just feels weird, because you didn't see shit like that in the 50s. Like, they didn't allow that in the 50s. What saying? I think I saw Vampire Streaming. I think I have seen that before. It was maybe a few years ago. I think the last time I saw it was streaming on Max. Because I think Max had a lot of the Criterion stuff in their catalog, so it may be still streaming on Max. I'm not sure. I haven't had Max in about a year or so I don't really know what's still on there or what's not. But Rick says I just bought the latest George Romero and Daniel Krauss novel, The Living Dead, arrived from Amazon last week. Yeah, that's one I still have not read. I know there's an audiobook out there too. I think Lori Cardill does some voiceover work for the audiobook. But yeah, that's one I just never have just haven't picked up. For one, I've mentioned this before. I'm not the biggest fan of like fiction, and the fact that it's like Romero, but it's like maybe 25% of Romero and the rest was finished by Daniel Krauss, which I've heard interviews with Daniel Krauss and I've heard him talk, and he's a huge fan, and I'm not saying like, oh, what does he know? Why would I want to hear anything from him? Like, it'd be interesting to see like kind of his take on George's, the starting point basically. But it's just one of those I just haven't picked up and haven't dug into yet. So if you read it, man, let me know in the next few weeks. If you read it, what's your thoughts on it? Because I've heard kind of mixed things. Some people really like it. Some people were like, it wasn't the greatest. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, man. I'd be interested in hearing that. Brett says, I've never seen Paper Moon, but just checked my Laserdisc collection, and it's in there. It's on my must-watch list now for sure. Yeah, check it out. If you guys have not seen Paper Moon, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's a little dark in spots. But yeah, just watching Ryan O'Neal, Tatum O'Neal, which are real life father and daughter. Watching them play off each other, it's incredible. Highly recommend it. Rick saying, what about King Kong? King Kong was late 30s, I believe. And yeah, I guess that would count. I guess that would count as kind of an American monster, because that was that based off anything prior to that? I'm not the biggest. I don't know a whole ton about King Kong or the history of it. But yeah, I guess that kind of, as far as I know, yeah, that's an American monster. That's a good call. Good call. Since the zombie started in Haiti from voodoo stuff, I believe modern rituals use tetrodotoxin. I'm gonna try it. Tetrodotoxin, whatever, from puffer fishes. Yeah, I mean those, but I'm talking about like the flesh-eating, living dead zombies as we know them. Like, of course, like the voodoo zombies. I mean, that was in film before Romero. Like I Walked with a Zombie, or White Zombie, those type of films. So those type of zombies, sure, yeah. But I'm talking about like these specifically flesh-eating, living dead, the zombies as we know as zombies now. So. John says, I think Larry may know one or two others. I'll have to ask him about that. Yeah, I'll have to ask him about that. Or if he's in here, if he's watching, let us know. Sticker says, local American monster, the elusive yet common X with or without PJ Queen abilities. I think that's a global thing, Stukas. I think people deal with that type of monster in all over, from America to Lithuania to wherever. I think it's a universal thing. Mayor says, I'm currently waiting for a vampire film from 1972. It's called Daughters of Darkness. I've never seen that one. Should be here along with a couple of Blind Dead films and a double feature Italian zombie and rats movie. Hell yeah. Talking about Hell of the Living Dead and Rats, the double feature from Blue Underground put that out. I need to upgrade my Hell of the Living Dead for sure. I haven't picked up that. I saw it was recently on sale for like $10. I think probably from the sale maybe you got it at. But I know Severn just put that out on 4K, which I mean, I don't really need Hell of the Living Dead in 4K. I love Hell of the Living Dead, don't get me wrong, but do I need it in 4K? Nah, not really. I'd be good just an upgrade to Blu-ray, but I still have the DVD of it that I put that out with Anchor Bay. Did Anchor Bay put that DVD out all back in the day? I can't remember, but yeah, I love Hell of the Living Dead. I need to upgrade that for sure. Daughters of Darkness, I'm not too sure. I don't think I've ever seen that one. I haven't seen any of the Blind Dead films either, which I've heard good things. I think Dirk over on the Subjective Perspective Collective channel, I think he's mentioned some good things about the Blind Dead films, but Aro, what's going on, man? Aro Padgery's in the house. He does resemble Warhol, but sometimes Warhol resembled a pasty white zombie. That's true. So I guess it kind of goes both, hand in hand. Aro says there were Caribbean zombies and Italian zombies, but I do believe the zombie as part of a disease outbreak is very much American. So yeah, I I can't think of anything before that. So I say that's a win for the USA. USA. We got the we invented the zombie. I think all the other monsters, maybe outside of King Kong, but outside of that, everything else was kind of mostly European and like Japan. Godzilla. I mean, since Madeline Kahn's best and blazing, it's Two. She's great. She just passed away not too long ago. I mean, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Paper Moon. I mean, she's in so much, and she's hilarious in Paper Moon as well, because she kind of plays like this prostitute, I guess, if you want to call her that. She kind of uses men for their money and kind of goes off on her business, and she kind of plays like this proper, like, this old girl's got to stop and tinky winky, and then every now and then she lets it slip. Her vulgar, her vulgar language and demeanor. Madeline Kahn's great. Okay, so Bonnie's saying, yeah, look, it's on Max. So there you go. If you guys want to check out Vampire, it's on Max. It's streaming on Max. Like I said, it's from 1932, so it's a little older. The quality's probably not the best. But if you're a fan of vampire films, if you kind of want to see one of the early vampire films out there, definitely recommend checking it out. Mary says, actually, I think I have Vampire on my Max watch list. There you go. So check it out. It's on Max, guys. Since says you have the Kraus PDF, I sent it to you. Like just now, or did I miss out? I can't remember. Kraus PDF. Oh, did you just send it? I'll check it after the show. But yeah, he was on, I think it was the Garf not too long ago, I think. Because he just did another book based on some work of Romero that's called Pay the Piper. It's another book that I still haven't picked up and checked out yet. So, Bonnie said it was on my watch list. Forgot till I looked at IMDb. There you go. Ara says Italian zombies were dead. Black Death always came through Italy, wiped out half of Europe. Lymph nodes were huge, made them walk like classic Romero zombies with black blotches and sores too. Okay. What was the first Italian zombie film though? Would it have been Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, maybe? I guess that's technically an Italian zombie film, although it's kind of all over the place. It's set in the UK. It's made with Spanish filmmakers, or I forget what all went into that, but yeah, it's kind of all over the place. RSS fiction just mirrored reality in many ways. There you go. Mary says, yeah, that's the one. It was part of a Blue Underground Silk Grindhouse video there. Yep, I think that's the one I was looking at the other day. Yeah, I need to upgrade Hell of the Living Dead for sure. Being the Bruno Mattei fan that I am. Since saying Blind Dead films are fun. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I've just never checked them out. I think that they were kind of right around the same time as, like, early 70s. Right around the same time, Night of the Living Dead and Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. So, Ed saying OG American Monsters, would consumerism count? Yeah, we can count that. That's kind of what it was in Dawn, I guess. When did consumerism start? Like, just craze for just buying as much shit as possible. 70s, 60s, maybe. Well, I guess the 50s. Post-war makes sense. Mary says, now that I bought those 2 Blind Dead DVDs, they'll come out on Blu-ray. Are they not on Blu-ray yet? I'm surprised. That's surprising that those films haven't gotten a Blu-ray release yet. Ara says, isn't Bigfoot American? Yeah, I guess that's kind of an American, but that's kind of like more of a urban legend type of monster. If you want to count that, I guess. Britain, we have Loch Ness Monster and the Welsh Close Harmony. There's a ton of the Cryptozoic I guess is what they call them, the cryptozoids or whatnot. Ton of those, especially around here. Okay, since saying Kraus PDF was sent about 2-3 months ago. Okay, forgot when we chatted about it. I'll have to go back and look. Back and look if I think I remember. I don't know. You so much gets sent back and forth. I forget what I've gotten, what I haven't gotten, but I'll definitely look into that, Sam. PDF, that stand for Party Down Fuckers. Yeah. It's the Daniel Kraus Party Down Fuckers file. Paul, what's up, man? Paul Farber's in the house. Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, the Thinking Man zombie movie. That's interesting. That's an interesting take on Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. I always kind of look at it as kind of like it's a zombie film, but it has some giallo flavor to it at times. With kind of the detectives going around looking, because it's a zombie film, but it's almost like they don't think it's a zombie at first, so they're just kind of looking around for who the killer is, of who killed what's his face, the husband of the crackhead. But yeah, that's interesting. The Thinking Man zombie movie, I like that. Good to see you, Paul. Bonnie saying Slender Man. That's one I just heard of not long ago. Buddy of mine was telling me about Slender Man. I was like, what the fuck is that? And he was like, oh, you don't know? He's out in the woods, and I didn't know anything about Slender Man. But yeah, I guess that counts as because they've made movies of that, I'm pretty sure, at this point. Mushroom Hill, what's going on, man? I would be all in on Night 90 figs. Yeah, there aren't that many out there. I did see a Distinctive Dummies line, which is kind of like a custom figure line. They just put out a cemetery zombie from Night 90 not too long ago. Those go for pretty big money, though. They're limited. And if you miss out on those, I see them pop up on eBay every now and then for $200-300. So, but they look pretty fucking awesome. They look really cool. But I agree, we do need some Night 90 figures at some point. That's a good call. We really don't have too many of those. Stuka says Paper Moon makes me think of Little Rascals episodes. Yum yum, eat 'em up. Arlo says I'm referring to old scary stories and books with the Italians. Americans knelt the flag to the zombie outbreak convention. British zombies tended to be servants of bad guys, not part of an outbreak. Yeah, kind of like in White Zombie with Bela Lugosi. They're kind of slaves, to Lugosi up in the castle. Romero always talked about. Mary says the first and last Blind Dead films are on Blu-ray, but not the second or third ones. Okay, that's interesting. Wonder why that is. I wonder if there's issues with the rights to that, or if they're, I don't know. I'm sure there will be at some point. I mean, we just got the news that that Felsher and Synapse are doing Fright Night 2, Prom Night 2, 3 and 4, Prom Night 3 and 4. I think there were quite a few and of those titles that people have been asking for years, and nobody really knew if they were coming out or not. But they kind of announced that earlier this week that we're getting those, I'm assuming on 4K, possibly Blu-ray, because I don't know for sure if anybody knows where the original materials are for especially Fright Night 2. That's kind of been lost to time and space for years. So yeah, I'm curious to see. They said it's not coming out this year. They said it definitely won't be 2025, but definitely curious to see what they do with those, because Friday Night 2 is one that I'm really looking forward to seeing it, because I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. So I'd love to go back and revisit that one. But yeah. Well, we got quite a few people in the chat. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe. If you're watching for the first time, if you're just checking this out, if you stumbled in on this fun and frivolity, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. Helps get it out there to more unknowing viewers. Ara says I'm at the U.S. inventing the zombie outbreak movie, no question. Yeah, I mean, kind of the way we know a zombie movie now, and we can stake claim to that at least. Kenneth, what's up, man? Kenneth Costa is in the house. Top 5 movies in no particular order. In general? See, it's hard for me, because, like, if I were to just do my top 5 favorite movies, like, half of them would be Romero films. So, if I were, like, I'll include Romero films, but I'll include the Dead series as one movie. I mean, Dawn of the Dead is my number one all-time, no question about it, favorite movie of all time. I was just watching it again before I hopped on here. My daughter wanted to come upstairs and watch a movie and eat popcorn and stuff, and I was like, okay, what do you want to watch? She said, zombies. I'm like, all right, let's watch zombies, fuck it. So we were watching that. She fell asleep on the couch watching Dawn of the Dead, and I was like, I couldn't have been prouder. But just watch it again. I'm just like, man, this movie is just fucking perfect. I just love that fucking movie. Second would probably be Martin. I love Romero's Martin. It's a toss-up between Martin or American Movie, maybe. I love American Movie with Mark Borchardt, the documentary from the late 90s. I gotta throw Clerks in there. As a Kevin Smith fan, Clerks is one of the most inspirational films. The story of how it was made and everything, and of course, Night, Day. I mean, I whittling it down to 5. I'd have to really think about that, but there's a ton of movies out there that I love. And if I were to just do a top 5, I mean, like I said, most of them would just be Romero films. So. Mayor says, yeah, Distinctive Dummies are out of my price range. Yeah, even new, they were still like $125 or something like that. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. They do look really cool, though. I will say that. Paul says, would love to see some B&P Motor Express truck models. Yeah, I think I feel like I've seen those before somewhere. I don't know if they were custom made, perhaps, or what, but I feel like I've seen those somewhere, maybe on eBay before. But yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to have, something like that. I know that'd be perfect. That'd be right up your alley, Paul. Since says United Living Dead is the oldest and truly American zombie cannibal film. I did an exhaustive search a while back and came up with no alternatives. Proud American here. There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of started. I mean, like I said, it had its roots in, I Am Legend and Last Man on Earth and stuff like that. But you can't really argue that Night kind of started the whole thing as what we know today as the modern zombie, for sure. Steven, what's going on, man? Steven Ustrack Jr. Unfortunately, there is still an EBS. It generally interrupts my favorite programs. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that here lately. I guess because I usually either have like YouTube TV or I rarely watch TV as it is. Most of the time, even if we have like tornadoes or anything around, I'm usually watching a YouTube channel. Like there's different with like Ryan Hall or there's like meteorologists that have YouTube channels, and that's usually what I watch, and it's usually as good, if not better, coverage than the coverage you would get from like a local news station or anything. So, since says American Movie rules, absolutely, man, absolutely. It says OG American Monsters. We are forgetting the most horrific monsters of all time. Bebe's Kids. I fucking love Bebe's Kids, dude. You have no idea. One of my all-time favorites. I still quote to this day the scene where the two women that are following the main guy are in the boat, and the big fat girl's got like all the food and stuff in the boat, and she's like, they're sinking the boat, and she starts throwing the food out, and the big girl's like, "Don't do that. I need it to live." Love fucking Bebe's Kids, dude. That's an underrated classic from the '90s for sure. Riverman, what's going on, Riverman? Worst Romero movie, Dark Half or Monkey Shines for me. Yeah, man, it's hard. Like, I'm not a big fan of Survival of the Dead, to be honest with you. It doesn't offend me, but it's lacking from what it could be. Dark Half and Monkey Shines, not my favorites by far, but for me, easily Two Evil Eyes. Like, I'm just not a Two Evil Eyes fan. I don't think George really gave a shit about that movie either. It was just kind of a favor to Dario, because Dario really loved Poe and wanted to do Poe stories. So, yeah. Two Evil Eyes is probably my least favorite Romero film, if you want to categorize that as a Romero film. And it says that Bruiser 4K was one of my favorite releases last year. Yeah, that is a great release, and way overdue. And Bruiser never looked so good. And I know Landrum and you know, Larry's not the biggest fan of Bruiser either, but I love Bruiser. I can't help it. And yeah, that 4K release was fantastic. And I'm pretty sure I've heard for the past couple of years from pretty reliable sources that there's one in the works in the U.S. as well. So there will be a U.S. release of Bruiser coming at some point. But I haven't heard anything probably in a good year about that. So who knows? Yeah. You killed my bogey. I love that Christine kind of played a lot of the same roles right at the end of that time period there. Like Monkey Shine, she's a nurse. The Dark Half, she's a nanny. Two Evil Eyes, she plays a nurse, I think. She just kind of had the same role there for a little bit. But all right. I'm caught up on the comments here. So I mentioned a second ago about the March Madness King of the Zombies bracket contest that's still open. You can still enter the contest until tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern time. And I figured I'd come on here, and I'm getting into the contest because I don't own this fucking action figure. Do you guys want to see? You guys want to see the figure first? Or do you want to fill out this bracket with me first? I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and fill out this bracket first. I'm going to fill out my bracket to show you guys kind of how it works. You know, what to do. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty fun, and it'll be a nice little exercise to kind of play with all you guys. So let me pull up the screen here. Let me see. There we go. So there's the bracket. Picks due by tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to fill out my bracket and submit it into the contest. Let me know what you guys think. Contest up here, Bub versus the Butcher. That's an easy one. It's got to be Bub. Butcher's a fun zombie, and like I said, it was kind of an idea that Romero had all the way back, even going back to the early 70s of having a Butcher zombie. But yeah, that's an easy one. That's a 1 seed versus a 16 seed, and I will be very surprised if the Butcher gets 1 vote in this contest, because the contest works. Starting this week, starting Monday morning, 8 a.m., I'll be posting a poll in the community section here on the page for everybody to vote. Any and all, everybody vote which zombie that they prefer between the two, and we'll continue to do that throughout the month of March until we come to our ultimate winner, our champion, the King of the Zombies. So, Bub, that's an easy one. This is a tough one. 8 seed Hare Krishna Zombie versus the 9 seed Machete Zombie. This one I could really go back and forth on. What do you guys think between Machete Zombie, Hare Krishna Zombie? What do you guys think? Let me come back to that one. Let me knock out some of these easy ones here real quick. Karen Cooper versus Blades, 5 seed versus the 12 seed. Love Tom. Love the fact that Romero had a returning character come back as a zombie in Land of the Dead. That was pretty cool to see in the theater. But that's an easy. Karen Cooper, iconic. And Kyra Schoen, love Kyra. So that's an easy one. Here's a 4 seed Plaid Shirt Zombie versus 13 seed Tire Iron Ghoul. Again, love John Russo. Great zombie. It's one of my favorite zombies in Night of the Living Dead. Great walk, great look, great makeup, but it doesn't get much more iconic than Airport Zombie, Plaid Shirt Zombie, Paul Muster, whatever you want to call him. 3 seed Cemetery Ghoul versus the 14 seed Miguel. Love Miguel. Is that the first zombie bite on screen in film history? that I can think of. I know they tore some motherfuckers apart in Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, but I think that may be the first like on-screen bite. But either way, Bill Heinzman Cemetery Ghoul for the win. This one's kind of hard. I love Big Daddy, but Jim Crut, the helicopter zombie, great scene. 6 seed versus 11 seed. I think I got to go with Big Daddy here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Big Daddy on that. Because the thing is, when you fill out this bracket, the way that these points, so each one that you get correct, each matchup that you pick that you get correct, you get 2 points up here as the scoring. Round 1, 2 points for every correct selection. Round 2, 7 points. Round 3, 15 points. And then championship rounds, 25 points. And then bonus points for an underdog win. So let's say I did pick the helicopter zombie to beat Big Daddy. If the helicopter zombie wins the poll, that's 2 points plus an extra 5 points because it's a 6 seed, 11 seed. You get the amount of points in between the seedings there, if that makes any sense. But I think I got to go with Big Daddy on that one. But you also got to keep in mind, like, this is how you guys are voting. This is how the subscribers of the channel are going to be voting. Do people love Jim Crut more than they do Big Daddy? I don't know. That's, you know what? I kind of want to take Helicopter Zombie, try to get them bonus points, but I'll stick with Big Daddy. 7 seed Roger versus 10 seed Dr. Tongue. I love Roger and I love Reiniger's performance as a zombie when he returns, but Dr. Tongue, I mean, one of the coolest looking zombies. The first zombie you see in the opening of Day of the Dead. It's a 10 seed and a 7 seed. That's some bonus points there. I'm going to go with Dr. Tongue on that one. Love Roger, love Scott Reiniger. But Dr. Tongue, I mean, just I'm just going to go with my gut on that one. Try to get some, I'm going to take the underdog there. And then Flyboy and Beef Treats. It's got to be Flyboy. Beef Treats is a fun zombie, but you can't argue with Flyboy. Now I'm coming back to the Machete Zombie and the Hare Krishna Zombie. What are you guys saying in the chat? What do you guys think between those? Riverman saying Hare Krishna. Synth saying Machete Zombie. Bonnie saying Hare Krishna Zombie. Oh, back and forth. It's tough. It's an 8 and a 9 seed. This is going to be the most fun. I'm going to make this the first contest up for vote come Monday morning. John says Machete because of how often that photo is. That's true. It is iconic. I mean, it's on the official poster, the French poster, and Lenny Lee's is awesome. You see that image everywhere. Stuka saying King of the Zombies, fat dude that slides into the fountain. That is true. That is an underrated zombie. Just for the fact that dude, almost butt-ass naked, takes that bump into the fountain like that. That shit looked like it hurt like fucking crazy. So big shout out to that guy. But yeah, they're very true. Saint Stukas, not fat dudes falling in fountains, happens here all the time. That's true. Yeah, this is one that just missed the cut. The Box Arco Pitcairn zombie was one of my favorite. I love that zombie too, but I didn't think he had either an iconic makeup or an iconic death. No action figure, so I was like, I gotta leave. But I do love that scene between him and Fran. I actually have a print of that my friend Daniel Lowry drew. He gave to me. Love it. So Ed's saying Machete. Yeah, that's the guy's name, John. Lee Cummings is the fountain zombie. That's right. So it's pretty split. Pretty split here. Hare Krishna always creeped me out more than the Machete Zombie. Okay, that's true. And yeah, watching it with my daughter earlier, that scene freaks her out. That one in the engine room zombie, the Warner Shook. That one, she was kind of, like, Daddy, I'm scared. I'm like, it's all right. He's a good guy. So yeah, we're pretty much still 50-50 on this thing. So I'm just gonna have to pick one. I'm gonna go with, just because he's such an iconic image with the machete in the head, and he's the underdog, so that's an extra bonus point there. I'm gonna take the machete zombie. So that leaves round 2 here. Bub versus the machete zombie, Karen Cooper versus the plaid shirt zombie, Cemetery Ghoul versus Big Daddy, Dr. Tongue versus Flyboy. Now they start to get a little harder. Bub versus machete zombie. Love Lenny Lee's. It is an iconic image. But Bub, Howard Sherman, just great performance all around. 4-seed plaid shirt zombie versus 5-seed Karen Cooper. This is really tough. This one's one I may have to come back. What do you guys think on this one? Plaid shirt versus Karen. This could go either way. Both zombies are the image, kind of like the cover zombies for their respective films. That's a tough one. I'm going to come back to that one. Cemetery Ghoul, Big Daddy. I got to go with Bill Heinzman there. Cemetery Ghoul. I just, that's the first iconic zombie. That one's hard to beat. And then Dr. Tongue versus Flyboy. 2-seed versus a 10-seed. Dr. Tongue's great. It's great makeup, but I don't know if you can beat Flyboy. Not yet, at least. So Karen Cooper and Plaid Shirt Zombie. This is definitely one that I don't know which way to go on this one. Karen has more of a role in it. Her scene is maybe more iconic. The trowel scene. But I mean, you see Paul Musser's image fucking everywhere. So that one's tough. What are you guys saying in the chat? I got to go back to you guys. So Brett's saying Karen. Brian, what's up, man? Brian Stahl's in the house. What's up, Brian? Just filling out this bracket here. Submitting it. Riverman says Karen. Bonnie says Karen. Okay, a lot of Karen. A lot of Karens. John says, love you, Kyra. And Karen Cooper is way more important historically, but I'm going with Musser. Okay, so we got a Paul Musser vote. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with you guys because I think Karen Cooper's kind of the dark horse in this. I'm gonna go with you guys. I'm gonna take Karen. Take Karen Cooper. And that brings us to the final 4. Bub versus Karen Cooper. Cemetery Ghoul versus Flyboy. These are difficult. These are tough. Bub versus Karen. Sorry, I hope I'm not screaming into this microphone. Bub versus Karen. I love Karen, but Bub's too hard to beat. It's too hard to beat. Yeah, I think I got to go with Bub on that one. Yeah, Riverman's with me there. Brian says Bub. Bub may be unbeatable. I mean, he's the 1 seed. It's gonna take a real battle to beat Bub, but this one's tough. Cemetery Ghoul, Flyboy. I have a personal affinity for the Flyboy zombie. Loved Cemetery Ghoul. But yeah, I think it's got to be Flyboy. So that brings us, I mean, it's the 1 seed versus the 2 seed. Kind of where we all thought it would end up. Bub versus Flyboy. Ed's saying Bub. What do you guys think? Bub versus Flyboy. Travis, what's going on, man? Actually, I'm going to pronounce that correctly. Travi-is. What up, Travi-is? Flyboy for the win, he says. Ed says Bub lives, Karen dies, Bub wins. There you go. So we got one for Bub. Riverman saying Flyboy for the win. Down is up. What's going on? Down is up. On Alicia. She didn't make the bracket, unfortunately. Good point here by Brian. Brian says both actors brought amazing physicality to their performance and show the evolution of Romero's zombies. Very, very good. Very, very true. And it's got to go Bub. So this is another one that's split. No, Travis. You had it right the first time, Travis. Not much. I was just messing with you. You're saying there, but what's up, man? Good to see you in here. I think you're new, if I'm not mistaken. Since then, wait, no 30th anniversary preacher zombie. He was infected at least. He was infected, but he didn't change. He was working with the power of the Lord, and the Lord would not allow him to change over. It's saying Bub lives, Flyboy dies, Bub wins. There you go. So we go. All right, we go back and forth here. Brett says Imgi is the best fresh zombie. Sherman is the best aged zombie. It's a tough call, but my favorite's Flyboy. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I'm telling you, Bub is one of my all-time favorite performances by a zombie. He makes you, it's an emotional performance. He makes you emotional for his character, the zombie. Literally, Bub is the most likable character in that whole movie. Everybody else in that movie's flawed, angry, wrong. You know, like but Bub is the one that's just there, living to live. You know, he just wants to read his book, talk on the phone, listen to his music, and eat every now and then. He's just a big baby. But I think for my champion on my bracket, I gotta go with Flyboy, guys. I just think the zombie walk, the look, and this was before, before zombies and the zombie walk and and just the way that David Imge knew to incorporate all the wounds that he endured in that, the elevator with the bites on the legs, the bites on the neck, the gun dangling, the twisted ankle. I mean, to quote George himself, King Zombie, Flyboy Zombie. I'm going with that one. Once you get your bracket filled out, you just go up here, hit submit, and bracket pick submitted. And you will receive a confirmation of your email pick. So there you go. So there's my bracket, guys. What do you think? Go now. If you're not entered into the contest yet, I've been posting links all over the place. I'll post the link again here in just a second. Hang on a second. Let me back up here. Where's my background? There we go. Let me get out of here. But yeah, contest is open. If you guys want to enter, fill out your bracket. Till tomorrow night, Sunday, March 9th, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And the link, let me... all right. Sorry, I was a little frozen there. But go check it out. Where is the link? I had it somewhere. I'm going to put it in the chat. You guys want to maybe be easier that way. But yeah, you go in, fill out your bracket, submit into the contest, and we will play this out throughout the month of March. And the winner will receive the grand prize, which we will put on display here in just a second. I feel like I'm a little choppy. Let me X out of this real quick, because I think it's slowing me down here. There we go. I think I was taking up too much. Just taking up too much there. Anyway, I'll have to put the link or something down in the description box or something here after the stream, because I can't find it offhand. But I put it in the community, the community posts. It's out there if you guys wanna find it, and make sure you enter. Let's see. I jumped around here on the comments. I apologize if I missed any comments, guys. Let me go back and let me see if I picked up missed anything. I know I missed this one from Steven. Interesting pickups. I haven't seen these yet, but I've heard good things about them. If you dig offbeat 70s films, I recommend Two Lane Blacktop. Interesting film, but not for everyone. That's one I remember my dad watching when I was younger. He used to talk about that movie all the time. My dad's a big car guy, but I don't remember if I ever saw that one or not. Um, um, I think I was. I'm trying to catch up here. I'm all behind. Bonnie Bailey saying that was tough for sure. I think this is where I left off. John says, as much as I want to say Flyboy, it's hard to deny any of Bub's scenes, so I need way more time to think. There you go. I mean, yeah, that one's going to be tough. It could go either way. That's why it's the big finale there. But I'm going with Flyboy. I just think, I don't know, I just love Imge's walk, the gun dangling. I mean, just there's just so much about that that's just, I just think he's king of the zombies, you know. I mean, Romero himself called Imge's performance, you know, worthy of Karloff. Like, he was like a Boris Karloff type performance. And same for Bub, really. I mean, Bub's performance is it's very Frankenstein. It's like the monster, the lovable monster that you feel sorry for, that you're kind of cheering for. This had been fun, Travis. If I could figure, can someone create an AI fight to see who wins? Probably Bub. He learned to shoot. Yeah, that's the thing too. You got to think of, like, if you want to vote on it that way, fuck, I don't know, but that's the thing too. Is like, what if these zombies did have a battle? Like, you know, Bub's got the gun, Flyboy's got a gun. He doesn't really know how to use it, but he's got a gun. Karen had the trowel. You know, you can take that into account. I mean, Big Daddy, I mean, if you were taking that into account, I mean, Big Daddy would probably beat all of them. Or Blades. He's got the fucking machete going around, you know. Or the Butcher. You know, he's got the butcher knife. If you want to take that into account, you can. But that would be fun. I don't know much about AI, but if anybody wants to figure out how to do that, I'd love to see that. Brian's saying bold, very bold. Hey, I'm going bold. I got to get those bonus points, man. I gotta take some underdogs. I'm gonna take the 2 seed to win it all. Because I don't own this fucking toy that I'm giving away. This is one that I don't own. I only bought one. I don't know why I didn't buy one for myself, but I said, fuck it. I'm going to play the game. I'm going to try to win it outright. The Flyboy walk is iconic, says Riverman. It really is. I mean, it's one of those that you don't really understand. Like, how the fuck how did he walk on his ankle like that and not, you know, that's incredible physical performance from David Imge. Since says Bub is Howard Sherman's best role ever. Saw him in Trek, Miami Vice, and a terrible sci-fi movie, and not a great repertoire. Yeah, I mean, Howard Sherman's been in a ton of things over the years, and he's been credited as Sherman Howard at different times. I always just know him as Howard Sherman just from Day of the Dead, but yeah, just his performance in Day of the Dead. Like, what's his face did the commentary on Day of the Dead. Roger Avery said on the commentary, he was like, you know, 85, like, Howard Sherman should have been nominated in a just world. Howard Sherman should have been nominated for an Oscar for his performance as Bub. Like, he's like, I don't care if, you know, Raging Bull came out that same year. Like, Howard Sherman deserved recognition for his performance, because it really is. I mean, we're thinking, like, he was kind of the first, like, sympathetic zombie. The first, like, you know, and he just, his performance, without saying anything, I mean, other than, you know, hello on Alicia or whatever, but just his facials and just the way he moves and his baby-like, you know, portrayal of that character was, you know, just something completely different. And I remember, like I said, when I saw Day of the Dead for the first time, I didn't love it. I wasn't a huge Day of the Dead fan. But that was the thing that stood out to me. I was just like, wow, I really, really like this zombie and this performance. Brian says that ankle move by Flyboy, tough to beat. I don't know how he did that without losing. Yeah, busting his ankle for sure. And David Imge's another guy that's just like, man, I wish, you know, would have done more in film. He would have been a great character actor. Not, you know, just for Dawn, but you see him in stuff like, you know, The Booby Hatch, or, you know, just the one that Russ Streiner did. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. He had like a little role as a mechanic, but he would have been a great character actor if he would have just stuck with it. But Dawn is pretty much his sole claim to fame, unfortunately. Stuka says, I heard there's a pretty decent, very, very low budget zombie movie called The Battery. I don't know. Yes, we've talked about the battery many times. That's one I'm still seeking to see at some point. But yeah, Grande has talked about it and said great things about it. So I know quite a few people in the chat have mentioned it before. So I mean, it's one that gets brought up a lot that I still need to seek out and check out for sure. And I feel like you're being a smartass, Stukas. I feel like I remember you mentioning this before, saying you need to watch this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch it. That I still haven't. I'll get on that. I'll track it down. But again, it's like I'm just like if I don't find it, so I'm such an old like chunk of coal when it comes to shit like streaming. Like I rarely stream anything, TV, movies, anything. Like if there's movies that I watch, it's usually because I find them on Blu-ray or whatever out in the wild, and that's one I've never seen. I don't even know if it has a Blu-ray release. I think I may have looked into that before. I think it does, but it's not readily available. Synth, I agree. His choice to act like a young child really sold it. Yeah, it really did, because it made you feel sorry for him, because it's like, oh, this poor baby is now lost in the world on his own. He doesn't have, Dr. Logan as his mommy, that type of thing. Brian says, Reiniger's zombie has a soft spot in my heart. The look of almost confusion and recognition when he just animates, then it washes away, and he sees Peter's food. Always love it. Yeah, and I've heard Reiniger talk about that before in the past. Just his... the way that he approached that as an actor, the scene before that, he's saying, I'm going to try not to come back. I don't want to walk around looking like that. He just had such disgust and such disdain for the fucking zombies at that point that he didn't want to come back as one. And then when he does, there is that look on his face of just like, oh shit. Like, oh no, I'm one of them now. What do I do? What do I do? I mean, he's like, you can see him fighting it. I always love that. And then like you said, by the end, he starts to rise up, and you see his face kind of turn, and where he's just like it's almost like, okay, I could embrace this now. Like I'm coming to eat you, Peter. Yeah, I fully yeah, God, it kind of makes me want to go back and change my my pick there between him and Dr. Tongue, but whatever. I got to go with some underdog picks, try to get some bonus points. So, since Stukas' battery is decent, Stukas said no worries. Yeah, I know, Stukas. I'm just giving you shit. I'll never watch anything that is shoved down my throat. It's not. I mean, it's not that I'm like purposely like avoiding it. It's just one of those things that's just like that. There's two movies like that I really really want to see. That one and Session 9 from Brad Anderson, because Brad Anderson's. I don't know if it's still on or what. You don't hear anything about it, but Twilight of the Dead, he's kind of set to direct that. And so I need to see that, because that's one that Landrum really loves, and it makes me want to see it. But yeah, again, it's those movies that, unless I see it out in the wild and I pick it up on Blu-ray or whatnot, like I rarely stream things. So Peter is a funny part of the sad scene. Yeah, he's like, Peter. Yes, I'm here, man. I'm here. Because he is, at that point, he is just kind of almost childlike himself. He's just like a helpless child, just like, because he's all doped up. And yeah, Reiniger's performance is so great in that movie. Like, doesn't get enough credit for how good he was in Dawn of the Dead. And it says, I always wondered what if Peter didn't shoot him right off the bat. Yeah. Which, I mean, if he didn't shoot him right off the bat, he would have just risen up and tried to attack Peter. So I mean, I don't know that in that situation, you do always wonder, like, what would Reiniger's zombie walk have been like? What would his zombie walk have been? Because we saw Imge's, like David Imge took it to a whole new level. What would have Reiniger's zombie walk been like? That would have been interesting. Would have loved to have seen that, actually. But all right, caught up on the comments here. Let's take a look at this. Let's unbox this figure, and then let's talk about some toys. Which is the whole reason we're here tonight, guys. It's the whole reason we're here. So, in this box is the brand new Trick or Treat, not Trick or Treat Studios. That's in a minute. MONSTARZ Creep Show release of the Jordy Verrill Creep Show figure. The green variant, actually. So, let's open this sucker up and take a look at it in real time. I showed pictures last week, but let's take a look at the actual thing. And this is what's up for grabs in the bracket contest, the March Madness, King of the Zombies bracket contest. So, if you haven't submitted your bracket yet and submitted your picks, get in on the contest, and you could win this brand new... I'm just pointing this fucking knife everywhere. You could win this brand new action figure. So let's open it up, take a look. And this is Amok Times is the company that does these. They've done a lot. They've actually done a whole line of Creepshow figures, which I do own all the other ones. We'll take a look at those here in just a second. So I've never seen this. I haven't seen this up until now. So I'm curious to see. Nice and wrapped up here. Got paper on the face. Give me a break. Alright. I'll probably just, unless I win, I'll probably just reuse that box and mail it to whoever the hell wins it. But here it is. The brand new Jordy Verrill Creepshow action figure from MONSTARZ. You guys get a good close look at that. The green variant. It does come in a red variant as well, which is what the rest of the figures that they've put out to this point. Here's what the back looks like here. And if you look here, it comes with different sets of hands, which I don't open my figures usually because I don't typically play with them. But it does come with the broken meteor, with the blue meteor shit, as you can see, and the bucket, so you can, you know, pack up the meteor and take it off to the college. Try to get some money out of it. But yeah, here it is. Brand new MONSTARZ Creepshow Jordy Verrill action figure. Like I said, it does come in a red as well. There is a red variant, but this is the green variant. Which I don't know if is more or less rare. I'm not sure, but it looks... I think it looks cool. It fits the look of the character, Jordy Verrill. You know, the you know, eating with the green weeds and all that shit. So yeah. If you guys want to get your hands on this, if you want one of these, here it is. This is the one that you will receive. Submit your brackets. You got until tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Submit your bracket. You're entered into the contest, and all you got to do is vote and hope for the best. So, yeah, there it is. One last good look at it there. Now, I did mention, I'll show you guys, since we're talking Creepshow figures, it is part of the same line of Creepshow figures here that MONSTARZ has been doing for the past few years. And I have all the other ones up to this point. They're all just the regular red versions. But there's this one here. This is the Creep figure. Get a good close look at that one there. And these are available. You can find these typically on eBay or a lot of toy stores and stuff for... They may be going for more now. This one, when I bought it, it still has the price sticker on it. If you can see that. Maybe focus on it. It says it's $25. But I've seen these going from 25, 35, sometimes even up to $50 now. I don't know how, you know, rare or limited these are at this point, but you got the Creep figure there. Go along with that. You got your Something to Tide You Over figures. Galen and Ted Danson there. Dancing. In the back, you got Leslie Nielsen. Very cool. There's something included there with that. I can't tell what the hell that is. Never been able to figure out what the hell that is. Looks like just seaweed or something. I don't know, but There you go. Something to tide you over. Creep show figures. This one's cool. It's the Nathan Grantham Father's Day figure, and I did get this one signed by the man himself, John Amplis. Signed it, I want my cake. Very cool. So you got the Father's Day figure there. And I think this is probably one of the first ones of this series that they released. You got the cake down there at the bottom. So you got that one. And then last but not least, this one's pretty cool. It's a big one. It's the Fluffy crate release figure here. I don't know. Let me move this out of the way and get a better look at it. Sorry for all the reflections, but you can see the very detailed, very cool release. And this is one I got signed by, let me pull this back, Daryl Ferrucci, the man who played Fluffy, the guy in the Fluffy costume. I mean, how much could it eat? He signed it. And the cool thing about this one is you can actually open this, pull it out, and kind of get a better look at it. Because the box itself just kind of opens. And you can just put it right back in. And there you go. There's your Fluffy and the crate. It's pretty good size. This one's really cool. My daughter loves this one. She always looks at it and points to the crate and she says, is it treasure? I'm like, yeah, it's treasure. And she's like, monkey find the treasure? She calls Fluffy the monkey. I'm like, yeah, monkey found the treasure. She's like, oh, cool. So yeah, that's the entire line. Now you have the Jordy Verrill figure to round it all out. But we're still waiting on something for... they're creeping up on you, which I think I mentioned last week. What do you do with that? I guess you just do like an Upson Pratt character, maybe with covered in cockroaches. I don't know, but maybe something like that'll be coming down the pike soon. Well, I'm sitting here talking about how you can open the box and put it all back and not fuck anything up, and I can't get the damn thing back in the box. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, so I mean the pretty cool little collection there. I hope I win that figure, because I don't own that one yet, and I need it to complete my collection. I'm saying in the chat here, since then, Adam the Woo recreating that scene with Blasio on the Monroeville Mall lawn is hilarious. Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing that. That's a few years back, wasn't it? It's saying you play with your dolls like Dark Helmet and Spaceballs. Don't deny it. Hey, I have a couple here that are out of the package because I bought them that way. That I my daughter, I let my daughter play with sometimes. I got a Big Daddy figure here that I got. She likes playing with that one. And I got a Butcher figure from Land of the Dead here. These are really cool. I mean, these are kind of harder to find because they didn't make a ton of them when the movie came out. And I do have a Blades as well, but that one's still in the packaging and signed by Tom Savini. So that one's just up on the wall. I didn't pull that one down, but I do play with those sometimes. I will not deny it, Ed. I do play with those. I'm growing. Not down there. Ken says, what's your take on Resident Evil games, movies, and the story itself, and old movies versus new movies since the second one was announced? It's a big question. I could go into detail, but I love Resident Evil, the games, like the first 4 or 5 games. Well, I wouldn't say that. There were more in between that. There was like Code Veronica and Survivor and all these other ones. The early era of Resident Evil games I love. Like that's what I grew up on. That's kind of what got me started. It's what introduced me to Romero and the zombie genre to begin with in like the 90s, mid to late 90s. First time I played Resident Evil 2, I was like, holy shit, like this is revolutionary, you know. So I love the games. And the games are what kind of led me to George. And then when I found out they were making a movie of it, and that George was, you know, connected to it and was originally supposed to direct it, I was like, holy shit, like, this is perfect. I can't wait for this. And then we didn't get that version. Instead, we got the Paul Anderson version, and it is what it is. The first Resident Evil movie, I went to see it in the theater, and I was just happy that there was a Resident Evil movie, and there was a movie with zombies in it, because you gotta think this was 2002, and there weren't a whole lot of zombie movies at that time. Like, zombies hadn't really made a resurgence at that point yet. So 2002, and that first Resident Evil movie came out, just because there was a movie in the theater that I was seeing with zombies in it, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Looking back on it, not the biggest fan. Like, it's not very rewatchable for me. I feel like it just could have been so much more. It could have done so much more. Had it gone a different direction, been more of a horror film as opposed to a science fiction film, I guess. Because that's what it feels like to me. It feels more like a science fiction type film than a horror film. But yeah. So the rest of the movies I never really saw. Like Apocalypse I saw, and I was like, okay, it's kind of taking a downturn. Even though it did have like the Nemesis and shit in it. But yeah, the movies after Apocalypse, I never saw another one after that. But I do love those original games though, for sure. And I don't know if you haven't checked out Brandon Salisbury's new documentary, George A. Romero's Resident Evil. It's available for streaming now on Amazon. I don't know if it's streaming or I think you can rent it, but either way, it's available on Amazon and a couple other spots. But highly recommend checking that out if you're a Resident Evil fan and a Romero fan, because it's a really, really good documentary, really great documentary. Really enjoyed it, and really takes you into, it makes you wonder, like, man, oh, what if, like, God, what the version of Resident Evil that we could have gotten, We're saying yikes covered cockroaches. Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing you really do for a figure for they're creeping up on you. I guess it'd be an Upson Pratt, just covered in cockroaches, or like I said last week, I think you could just box up some fucking plastic cockroaches and just say the cockroaches from whatever, which I feel like I've seen those before on eBay, like some custom figure or something of just like cockroaches. But yeah, I don't know what else you'd really do with that movie, or that part of the movie, I guess. So it said no, you let the original air molecules out of the crate box. Yeah, well, you're supposed to be able to just close the fucking thing back up, but it's not cooperating. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool figure, and this one usually goes for a little more than the others, because it's kind of a bigger, more elaborate type of figure there. But I bought this to get it signed by Daryl Ferrucci, because Daryl had it at his table at Horror Hound a couple of years ago, and I said, that's the one that I missed. This is the one that I was missing from my collection. I was like, that's the one I'm missing, and you're here. I'll buy it from you if you sign it. And he was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So, and a super, super cool guy. If you guys ever get a chance to meet Daryl Ferrucci, very, very cool guy, very nice guy, very talkative, loves to tell stories, and the type of guest that, people hope to meet at these conventions. All right, I guess that's as closed as it's going to be for now. Mayor says Migo has an 8-inch Father's Day figure. That's right. I don't have that one yet. I have seen that around. The Nathan Grantham figure. I have seen that around, but I don't own that one yet. There's just been so much Creepshow stuff lately, and honestly, like I've tried to hold off on buying a lot of figures, like even the new Night of the Living Dead figures that that just came out not too long ago. Who put those out? I can't remember. Can't think of it off the top of my head, but we talked about it here on the show. Even those, I just couldn't, because when the price came down and it was like $200 or something like that for the whole collection, and I was just like, I just don't have that type of money to spend on toys at this point. And they just take up so much space, and I don't really know where to display them at this point. So it's like, I'll hold off. Maybe one of these days. But yeah, Creepshow has so many different stuff out there. Like Walmart has had a bunch of Creepshow stuff lately that I've just kind of put off, not buying. So, But again, like I said before, Creepshow's kind of maybe Romero's most marketable film. I mean, there's just so much you can do with that in terms of toys and collectibles and stuff like that. And Rick saying, yeah, those are cool. Yeah, I love those figures. Like I said, that's kind of the big thing I started collecting when I started really getting into collecting Romero stuff. Was a lot of the figures, a lot of the action figures and stuff. Since his Paul, what script? Anderson? He is a damn hack. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Paul Anderson whatsoever. Paul W.S. Anderson. There's a lot of Paul Andersons out there. There's Paul W.S. Anderson. Although I will say, like, the Mortal Kombat, his version of Mortal Kombat was not bad. I thought that was, especially when I was younger, when I was a kid and that came out, and I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. And even now, it still kind of holds up. There's some spots to it, but yeah, not a big fan of Paul W.S. Anderson, for sure. Stuka says in 2002 it was cool, but I was 13. What did I miss? Oh, Resident Evil. Yeah. I think I was about the same age, 13 or so, when that movie came out. And I went to see it in the theater with my dad. And I mean, like I said, 2002, I was already like, loved the games and was all about Resident Evil. Like that's what me and my cousins and shit used to play when we were kids. Like we'd all be like, okay, you're Chris Redfield, you're Jill, you're Barry. I was always Barry because I was always the older, like, grizzled kid because I was the 13-year-old. They were all like 10, 11, So I was always Barry or whatever, So yeah, but when the movie came out, I was just like, wow, this was cool, but not what I was expecting, not what I was hoping for. Since saying Sienna Guillory as Joe Valentine was my favorite. See, I don't even remember that. I just remember Mila Jovovich jumping off walls and super kicking dogs, and I was just like, I don't remember that from the games. That's interesting. Since I had a nice chat with Daryl at Living Dead Weekend, I had the live video on YouTube. There you go. Yeah, Daryl Ferrucci's a super, super nice guy. Super cool. Kenneth saying, I didn't know about Romero's Resident Evil doc. I'll check it out, but I completely agree with everything you said, except I eventually found a way to cope with the movies and ended up enjoying them. Yeah, I mean, maybe if, I don't know, like the later movies, like they just didn't seem like what I wanted. Like when I would see the trailers and they're in like the desert and it looks like Mad Max or something, I'm like, what is this? This is not what I wanted. Like I grew up, like Resident Evil to me was, the haunted mansion, the big scary mansion, or, the destroyed streets of Raccoon City, and it was more of a horror game. Those games were terrifying when I was a kid, and the movies just weren't to me. They were just more about action and, a little fucking computerized girl that pops up and you're just like, what is this? And then the little laser thing that cuts people into a billion pieces, and it's just like, And the lack of gore was a big thing too, because those games were known for their gore. When I was younger, like that was the big thing. I mean, it would open with, this game contains scenes of bloody violence or whatever. And the movies were just not gory at all. And I think that's, Romero's script, if you read Romero's script, there's a lot of, like, really gory, like, big effects and stuff in those movies. And I think his version would have been more of a horror, like, gory type of film. And I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't go with him and his script, is that the studios were just like, yeah, we want to make this as marketable as possible. We can't have all this gore and all this stuff happening, so let's make it, what it is. I don't know. Brian says, next time you're in the Berg, check out, is it Eads? I think it's Eads or Ides Entertainment downtown on Penn Avenue. Tons of that stuff. Just got a night on Criterion there. Last time, Living Dead Weekend in June. Last time we were there, me and Will, we went down, checked out. I mean, it's just like floor after floor after floor of just the coolest shit you could think of. I highly recommend anybody going to Pittsburgh or in the Pittsburgh area, going to be there for Living Dead Weekend. Definitely check out. Is it Eads? I think it's Eads Entertainment in downtown. It's down on Penn Avenue. You could, we spent a couple of hours in there, just looking, and I eventually picked up It was a Maniac poster from the film Maniac. I think it was like a Blu-ray or a DVD release from Blue Underground. Picked it up for $10. I was like, holy shit, I can't turn that down. But yeah, there's tons and tons of cool shit in there. Highly recommend that, everybody. That was a very cool collection of action figures. Thank you very much, sir. I got a few more here that we can talk about, and some news on some new figures that are coming out soon. So go ahead and get to that if you guys want to. If you guys want to do that real quick. I think I'm about caught up on all the chat here. Let me run through this real quick. So those figures are pretty nice. My favorites are the Flyboy and the Hare Krishna ones. Yeah, I have those over there. I didn't pull those down for this stream. Maybe another stream. I have quite a few different Flyboy and airport zombie ones, but the Hare Krishna one that came out in like the early 2000s are pretty damn cool. Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson's mostly good. Yeah, he's pretty good. But don't get him mixed up with Paul W.S. Anderson for sure. Mayor says if I ever get the Mego figure, I'll have to reprint it. It's just all brown, or repaint it. I'm sorry, I can't read. It's all brown. Needs some comic book lighting on it to make it pop. Yeah, I think I've seen that out in the wild once. It looks cool. It looks fine, but like you said, it was just kind of dull a little bit. I'm kind of with you on that one. I think Steven's a little bit behind here on the chat. He's still voting for Bub. Ed Santa prefer House of the Dead films over the Resident Evil films. Interesting. House of the Dead. I think I may have seen the first one. I remember the games. Are you talking about the films? I remember the games. The games were pretty fucking cool. The arcade games, the old arcade games. But I don't know if I ever saw any of the House of the Dead films, actually. I think I may have saw the first one, because I remember when that came out. That was kind of a big deal. And I remember not liking it very much, but because that was like what Uwe Boll or whatever his name was back in the day that did all those terrible movies in the early 2000s. Yeah, there it is. Synth with Uwe Boll loved making video game movies. He really did. He did quite a few of those, and I don't remember liking any of them. But yeah, so as I mentioned a second ago, Trick or Treat Studios has just announced a new line of Day of the Dead figures. I don't think they just announced it. I think we may have talked about this a few months back on one of the streams. Let me get it pulled up here. But they just released some photos from, I think, a recent like toy show or something that they were at, of the new Day of the Dead line of figures that they got coming out. So I figure we'll just take a look at those here real quick, and then I'll show you some pretty cool Day of the Dead figures that I picked up, some custom ones that I don't know if you guys have ever seen before. So this is Trick or Treat Studios. Just released these photos of the new line. Their new line, unpainted. I'm assuming these are going to be painted at some point. They're not just going to release them like this. Let me see. Let me go full screen here. So you guys can see it a little better. There we go. So yeah, looks like they're doing a Bub figure, a Dr. Tongue figure, which are cool. Don't get me wrong. I do have Bub and Dr. Tongue already. But the two that really interest me are the ones here on the far right of the screen here. They got a Captain Rhodes figure and a Sarah figure. The Sarah you can't really tell. Lori Cardill over here on the edge here, but that's who it is. And I love the little accessories that they're including with the figures. You can see Bub's got the bucket and the tape player there with the headphones. This one's kind of cool. The fucking Dr. Tongue comes with the alligator, so that's pretty cool. Rhodes comes with the M16 and his little handgun, and then Lori comes with a gun and the little pole that they wrangle all the zombies with. So that's pretty cool. I got some closer photos here. You can see Dr. Tongue. I'm guessing they're going to add hair to Dr. Tongue, so Yeah, I remember hearing that too, Synth. Apparently the Rhodes figure will come apart. Yeah, I remember hearing that you can actually, you'll be able to pull the Rhodes figure in half. I don't know if they're going to include, like, intestines or anything with it, or, the rubber chicken or whatever. But that's pretty damn cool. Um, and you can kind of tell here if you look close enough here on the Rhodes figure, you can kind of see where you'd be able to pull them in two. But there you go. There's another shot there. You can see the Sarah figure there. I think she's carrying her machine gun or whatever the hell she had, where she, let him go, God damn it, or I'll cut you in half. That gun she has there in that scene. But yeah, that's pretty cool. You'll be able to tear the Rhodes figure in half. There's a close-up shot of Bub. Thanks, Sam. The Uzi. Well, that's what it is. But yeah, there's a closer look at Bub, which I have seen a painted version of this before. It's the one that I used in the thumbnail for this live stream. So we kind of get an idea what that's going to look like painted. But there's a closer look at Bub there. Closer look at the like I said, I'm assuming that old Dr. Tongue's going to have some hair going on there. He's not just going to be bald, but that's kind of work in progress right now. But pretty cool. But I'm very excited about these two, the Sarah and the Captain Rhodes figures there, because in terms of officially licensed Day of the Dead figures, I think I'm pretty sure this is the first two figures that we'll have of a Captain Rhodes and a Sarah. So I'm pretty excited about that. Although I do own a Sarah figure and a Captain Rhodes figure, which I'll show you here in just a second. There you go. There's a close-up shot of Rhodes, and yeah, you can kind of see right there, right around the waist area, where you might be able to pull them apart. Now, it would be really fucking cool if they actually included, some intestines and stuff too. But yeah, what do you guys think? Are these day one purchases for you guys? Is this something you guys are picking up? Somewhere down the line? Are you going to get all of them? Or are you going to get some of them? What do you guys think? Here I am. Yeah, what do you guys think about these? Because the Rhodes and the Sarah figures for sure, probably day one purchases for me. Eventually, I'm a completist, so I'll need the rest of these, Bub and the Dr. Tongue as well. Just because, even just to get, the alligator and the extra little accessories and shit that'll come with them, I think is pretty damn cool. And you can, so yeah, I'm probably going to end up picking up all four of these. I don't know what kind of price point these will probably have. It's Trick or Treat Studios. They got a lot of really cool stuff coming out soon. I don't know what their stuff usually runs for. I'm not too in tune with what Trick or Treat usually goes for, but $20 a piece maybe. I think would makes it 20, 25 at the most. I think I could swing that. At least for Rhodes and Sarah, but yeah, I think I got to get those. I think I got to do it. But yeah, taking a look here at the Rhodes figure. But yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about? Get that back there. What do you guys think about those? I think they look pretty cool. Like I said, I do already have a Sarah and a Rhodes figure. They're not officially licensed, but I'll show you guys those here in just a second. What do you guys think of the new Trick or Treat? I haven't heard any kind of release date or anything on those yet, so I'm not sure how far out those are. I'm thinking maybe later this year, early next year, perhaps. What do you guys think of those? Rick's saying, oh, no way, that's just the bomb cool. There you go. It's the bomb, guys. It's the bomb cool. Brian says, was always funny to me. Rhodes barely uses his 629s, but makes a big show pointing them at everyone. That's true. Yeah, I don't think he ever fires them off once, but he's pointed them at he points them at everybody in the fucking cave at one point or another. Yeah, that's a good point. Time 1019 Vision likes him. He approves. Very cool. Mayor says Rhodes with choke on him action. Yeah, maybe you pull him apart and his fucking balls fall off. You can choke on him. Steven says, I believe Howard Sherman played Lex Luthor in the Superboy 80s TV series. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Since saying some Trek figures came with sound chips and a push button, how awesome to have Dave figures with it. That would be pretty fucking cool, Sent. Especially just for Captain Rhodes alone. I mean, shit. Just to have, a talking Captain Rhodes figure, forget about it. Take my money. Or just like a pull string, kind of like, the old toys back in the day. Since the Rhodes figure with rubber chicken gut, sponsored by KFC. Yeah, fuck KFC. They're no longer Kentucky. They moved to Texas, so I don't claim KFC anymore. I never liked KFC, even from Kentucky. Like, I've had real good fried chicken before, and KFC ain't it. So fuck them. Rick says, outside of the Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, 1970s era zombie movies, the best was a film called Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Greg Nicotero agrees. I mean, I had Ed on the channel for his collecting the dead. What, 2-3 weeks ago now? When I was doing his 10 questions with Ed, Nicotero chimed in. His favorite non-Romero zombie film is Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. That's a good one. That's a Bob Clark. I think it was Bob Clark's first film. I think. Of course, Bob Clark would go on and do Black Christmas, A Christmas Story, Porky's. One of the all-time great directors in any genre. I mean, seriously. But yeah, I agree with that. That's an early one too. That's early 70s zombie film too. Yeah, good call on that, Rick. Mayor says Trick or Treat Studios are pricey usually. See, the only thing I've really ever seen of theirs, I don't really know if I even own anything Trick or Treat Studios has done. Actually, I don't know. But they did the masks for the one that really impresses me. That I'm not a big mask collector, other than my bub back there. But I'm not a big mask guy. But the mask that they did for the Hare Krishna zombie looks so eerily realistic and just awesome. I see it on eBay every now and then. It's like $60-$70 or something like that. I always kind of want to get it. But it looks fantastic. They do good work. I mean, I gotta give them that. But yeah, I don't know if I own anything from Trick or Treat Studios. I know the Night of the Living Dead Halloween decor that Brian won in the trivia contest. I think that was Trick or Treat Studios, but I think outside of that, I don't know. Now I kind of want to go look around my room and see if I do own anything from Trick or Treat Studios. Down is Up says, yep, all of the day figures, and I pre-ordered the Night of the Living Dead figures as well. Yeah, I was on the fence about those when those went up for pre-order, the Night of the Living Dead, because they're all fucking cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'd love to have all of them, and especially the George figure that comes with it. If you buy the whole set, you can put the because it's George from that time period, late 60s, latent image George. I would love to have that, but man, like, I think to buy them all as a set, I think it was like $200 or something like that. I just couldn't pull the trigger on that right now, especially I'm just out of room. I don't know what the hell I would do with them at this point. They would just probably go in a box, and I just, that would break my heart. I don't want to do that. But yeah, I'd love to see them whenever you do, man. Shoot me an email. Show me some pictures of what they look like. Or saying, since saying Rick, children was a fun one. Yeah. It says, I'll wait till they are painted, assuming they will be, get a better look before I decide. I'm assuming they will be painted, because like I said, the figure, the action figure above that I used for the thumbnail for this stream is of the Trick or Treat Studios bub. Because I remember that they put that one, and I want to say Dr. Tongue. I think they released images, both of those, like fully painted and stuff, a while back. I haven't seen one of Rhodes or Sarah yet. I don't know if they've released any of those painted yet, but yeah, I'm I'm pretty sure they'll be painted because I mean I've never seen Trick or Treat Studios just release like just a plain, you know, unpainted figure before or anything. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the final product for sure. Rick says I heard Joe Pilato said that his death scene where he was being pulled apart by the closest zombies, they used pig guts and the blood was not refrigerated. Yeah, that's a famous fun story that. So apparently they shot that scene. They had all the pig guts and everything, and they kept it in a refrigerator down in the mines. And I guess they went off for like the weekend or whatever. They were gone for a couple of days, and before they left, nobody, they've never figured out who, they've never kind of pinpointed who the fuck would have done this or why they would have done this. Somebody unplugged the refrigerator. And so all those intestines and all that shit was just sitting in there, just rotting for 2 days straight. And that's all they had. So when they came back to shoot that scene, that's what they had to use. So you can see in the behind the scenes footage when, you know, Pilato's just, you know, stuck there in the fucking floor with the fake prosthetics and stuff. And you can just see the look on his face. Like, he is pissed that he is smelling this. Like, he said that he had to put, like, English leather and all this shit around, like, just to try to fight the smell. And when they shot that, you can see the behind-the-scenes stuff. When they shot that, they tear Rhodes apart, and they, you know, they're doing all the thing. And when George yells, "Cut!" the look on Pilato's face, he was close to throwing up. And all the zombies are, like, you know, trying to waft the fucking smell away from Pilato's face. You know, you could tell it was not a fun day to be on set that day. But they never figured out who the hell did that. They never figured out why or who unplugged that refrigerator. You know, unless it was, you know, somebody playing a fucking prank or something, or thinking that they were playing a prank, and then, you know, come to find out that you know, it wasn't too damn funny that anybody really got to laugh at. Down as I'm saying, I love Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. It's a great film. Yeah, great film. Bob Clark's Porky's. Yeah, I mean, Black Christmas. I mean, it's funny that Bob Clark made possibly the two best Christmas movies in two different genres. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna argue that Black Christmas is the best Christmas horror movie ever made. I mean, I guess some people might argue like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or even like Terrifier 3. I mean, maybe more modern people may think Terrifier 3. I don't know, maybe, but I mean, Black Christmas, and then to go on like a decade later and do A Christmas Story, like, and actually do like maybe the best Christmas movie ever made. That, you know, Bob Clark, a severely underrated director. Let's see here. I think that's where I was at. Yeah. Sorry, I got a little mixed up there. Rick Northgoing Llama says, and it smelled so rank he actually passed out due to the incredible stench by the rotched meat. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, you can see like the look on Pilato's face, like he was pissed. He was just like, this is awful. Yeah. Funny story in hindsight, but not at the time. Mayor says, I've got a KFC right behind my apartment building. I still never eaten there. You're not missing anything, man. I will say the famous bowls are not bad. They're like just, you know, it's the mashed potatoes and the corn and the gravy, and it's got little, you know, the little popcorn chicken in it. Like, that's pretty good. But other than that, like, you're better off, you know, at Zaxby's or, like, Zaxby's is mine. Like, that's my favorite fried chicken. Popeyes. I mean, there's better fried chicken out there than KFC. Time's asking, does the alligator have wires in its mouth? That would be funny. That'd be a nice little, what do they call it? A nice little Easter egg. They had the alligator's mouth wired shut. That'd be pretty funny. Steven Fernandez, what's going on, man? Steven says, I want them all. Day is my favorite Romero film. You made my night with this stream. Thanks. Well, absolutely, man. I'm glad I can make your night with this stream. I'm glad to have you in here, my man. Yeah, I mean, in terms of officially licensed, because I don't know if it's back here behind Bub's head, but I have the Bub and the Dr. Tongue that, who put that? NECA or somebody? I can't. I can't fucking see it, but they came out, I don't know, about 15 years ago or something like that. They're pretty pricey now. I mean, the Dr. Tongue figure goes for about 100. The Bub figure goes for about 75 or so, usually on eBay. But outside of that, yeah, we don't really have a whole lot of. Well, Steven, since today is your favorite, and I mentioned it a second ago that I do have a Sarah and a Rhodes figure. I do have these figures here that I got. They're custom figures. I think these are the only ones, at least that I've ever seen, the only ones that were made. So, and they're kind of grab them all real quick. And we'll go ahead and take a look at these. I'll go ahead and show these off for you guys. Let's see. Okay, so these are some of those old school, like, custom figures that you see every now and then. There's some Dawn ones. You see them for all kinds of different stuff. But these are I don't know the artist or whoever put these together or what they did, or what the company is that did these, but I thought they were pretty cool. It's a Day of the Dead Rhodes figure here. There's Captain Rhodes. I have a bunch of these. We'll go ahead and look at them all. You can look at the back here. Collect them all. So I do have a Rhodes figure, actually. And I love these figures. I've always liked these figures because they remind me of those cheap little action figures that I used to be able to get at, like, the dollar store and stuff when I was a kid. So I used to have a ton of, like, you know, actual, like, soldiers and stuff like that when I was a kid. But so I do have a Rhodes. I do have a Sarah figure. There's the Sarah figure. I don't know why they gave her short hair like that. I guess they couldn't do long hair on these, but pretty cool. Pretty cool. You have the Sarah. I also have, which I think is the only Dr. Logan figure that I think is available, that I've ever seen, that I recall. Look at, I don't know, trying to get it to focus. Come on, camera. Alright, it ain't gonna focus, but Dr. Logan. And of course, with Dr. Logan is Bub. Of course, you gotta have Bub if you got a Dr. Logan. Pretty cool. Then I got the other good guys in the crew. Got John Man. Trying to make this as... There we go. I'll just back up a little bit. Maybe that'll help. You got your John figure here. Of course, Terry Alexander. His trusty sidekick, McDermott. Of course, you got to have a McDermott figure. Which, his little goatee always kind of cracks me up there, but... Got McDermott to go with John. And then you got the other soldiers. You got Rickles. You got Rickles figure here. And last but not least, you can't have a Rickles if you don't have Steel. By the late great Gary Clark. There's a Steel just kind of looks like a villain in a anime or something like that, but yeah, pretty cool. So I got the whole little collection there. They're custom made. I don't know who made them. I don't know anything about them really. I found them on eBay, and I was like, I've never seen these before. I gotta have them. So I do love these, the style of figures there. So pretty cool. Let me get back to the comments here real quick. Then I'll show off a couple of... I have some similar ones like that for Dawn of the Dead, too, that I'll show off here in just a second, since we're talking toys tonight, guys. Mayor says the only thing I own from Trick or Treat Studios is the Misfits Vacuum 4 mask and a 12-inch Art the Clown figure. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if I've ever seen that Misfits mask. That's pretty cool. I mean, from what I've seen, like I said, the fucking Hare Krishna zombie mask looks fan-fucking-tastic. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So typically, I mean, anything Trick or Treat Studios, I mean, they do pretty good work from what I've seen. I just price point. I'm just not a typical buyer. I'm not their usual customer, I guess. So I really wouldn't know. Rick says, I think that Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things is that it had that helter-skelter madness, Charles Manson family evil twist, supernatural vibe to it. It's only a few years after. Yeah, it's true. It does kind of have that vibe to it. I always thought it was confusing, though, because I remember when I bought that and saw it for the first time, it was the VHS from Anchor Bay, when Anchor Bay put out that hard shell or clamshell VHS of Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, and I found it at Kroger for like $5. And I was like, oh, it sounds like a zombie movie. I'll check it out. And with the title, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, it kind of sounded like a kid's movie, kind of. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. It sounds like a kid's movie. And then you watch it and you're just like, oh, this is not a kid's movie at all. Could have used a better title, possibly. But I don't know. It's a fun one. It's a good one. It's one I need to go back and rewatch. It's been quite a while since I've seen it, but yeah, I remember really liking it when I first saw it. Kenneth agrees with Rick. A lot of Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things fans. Brian says, was Children the very first fast zombies? I know we could make an argument Heinzman was, or even the Crazies or Shivers, even though those are infected as opposed to zombies. Were they fast in Children? I don't remember that. I just remember old Orville, what was his name? Which is a really good makeup, especially for the early 70s. The camera work when he kind of rises and you just kind of see him from like below and you see this dark imagery. Like I said, it's been quite a few years since I've seen that movie. Did they run? I can't remember if the zombies actually ran in the movie or not. If so, that may be. That may be. Since they could sell them plain with plastic model paints, so you could get high huffing them as you work on them. Hey, there you go. There's a selling point. Get high as you work on them. Kinnison, speaking of children, Children of the Corn gets in my top 5. Oh, that's interesting. That's one that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but I mean, that's one of Stephen King's most iconic titles, I think. It's Children of the Corn. It's one of those, it's like part of the zeitgeist of pop culture. You know, you hear people like, oh, what are you, the Children of the Corn? I mean, you hear people mention that all the time. Even it's kind of one of those things like Night of the Living Dead. Like, even if people have never seen the movie, they know Children of the Corn, you know. But that's a good one. Downs Up says, cool figures. How does the Iron City beer taste? Is it any good? You're the second person to ask that tonight. Bonnie was asking about the Iron City earlier. I love Iron City. Like I was saying earlier, I'm more of a darker beer type of drinker usually, like Guinness or, you know, the stouts or stuff like that. That's usually my speed. But in terms of just like a regular, you know, a lager type of beer, it's good. And I'm usually not a big fan of those, like Budweiser, stuff like that. Like, I'll drink them if they're available, but typically I'm not the biggest fan. But I don't know. Iron City, it tastes like Pittsburgh to me. I don't know. Swig of beer for the working man. There you go. Since says that Logan figure looks like Patrick Stewart. Kinda, yeah. Yeah, it kind of does. I don't know. I'm trying to get it to focus a little better there on the face, but yeah, it's pretty funny. That's a good call. A Patrick Stewart figure there. Ken says, wow, all of the Day of the Dead figures you showed are surprisingly accurate. I mean, for like these cheap, like, because they're supposed to be like, you know, the cheaper toys, like vintage toys back in the day. But for like custom figures that somebody just put together, I mean, they look pretty damn cool. I like them, so I don't know, but. Brian says, down and up, irons are solid, light, solid light, but solid. Taste of the Allegheny River. Well, what did, I think it was, Christian Stavrakis, I think it was like one of the Facebook things was talking about, was shitting on Primanti Brothers. And I was just like, no, don't tell me that. What are you going to tell me next? That Iron City tastes like horse piss or something, or pond water or whatever? And he's like, no, it's gotten better over the years. It's gotten better since Cliff bought it, because Iron City Beer, Pittsburgh Brewing Company, is owned by Cliff Forrest, the brother of Christine Romero, and Cliff is in Dawn of the Dead. There's a lot of Romero connections to Iron City Beer. But he's like, ever since Cliff bought it, they kind of turned it around, and now it's a lot better. But back in the day, it was a well-known fact that Iron City Beer was brewed from the what was it, the urinals from all the local dive bars in Pittsburgh or something like that. I don't know. It was a funny fucking post, but I don't know. I like it. I'm a fan. Since says still figure face looks like the Iron Sheik. Yeah, it really does. It does. It does look just like the Iron Sheik. You are a piece of shit, motherfucker. It's my Iron Sheik impression. Steven says, thanks. They are so sexy. I shall search the internets for them. I'm glad you liked them, man. I don't know about sexy, but I'm glad you liked them. Yeah, I don't know. I think they may be the only ones in existence. I've never seen any others like them. Like I said, they were just kind of a custom set of figures that I bought them all at the same time. It was a big lot of all these figures here. So I don't know if there's any more out there or not. You check on eBay. You may stumble across some, but there's all kinds of like custom figures and stuff on eBay. I'll show a couple of these from Dawn of the Dead that I got that are in the same vein, similar to the Day of the Dead ones that I just showed. And these are fairly readily available. I see these pretty often popping up on eBay. I don't know if it's the same company that does them or they do similar stuff. These are pretty much, yeah, these are pretty, I guess it's probably by the same company that did the Day of the Dead ones. But these are for Dawn of the Dead. You got Peter there with his, he comes with the M16. If you guys can see that. And this one I did get signed by Ken Foray at Living Dead Weekend a couple of years ago, and he was like, man, I need an official Peter figure. And I was like, yeah, man, you need like all four main cast, like that's one thing we don't have, are like officially licensed figures of the main four. Like we got Flyboy zombie figures out the wazoo, but give me the main four cast figures, officially licensed, like they did with the NECA figures over there that came out all those years ago. And Foray did mention that he was in talks and kind of working on an actual Peter figure coming soon. So I don't know, fingers crossed, maybe at some point. But yeah. So I got Peter there, Roger, signed by Scott Reiniger. Roger looking like a bland white boy. There you go on that one. I got the Flyboy figure, non-zombie Flyboy figure, which is I think one of the only non-zombie Flyboy figures in existence. But he's got that iconic jacket, which it still exists and is right down the road from me. But who knows what will ever come of that jacket? Unfortunately. And there's others in that line. I've seen a Savini, a Blades figure like that. There's all kinds of different ones in that line, the Dawn of the Dead line. But this is one that was custom made, and it may be by the same guy that did. The artist is Todd Jara, I think is his name. But it is the helicopter zombie, the Jim Crut helicopters. I mean, this one's signed by Jim Crut because I bought it from Jim Crut. There's a look at the back there. Helicopter zombie figure. Yeah, this one looks pretty cool. You got the... God, if I can get a good look at it there. I just need that camera to focus, but there's too much glare. That's a little better. Kind of see it there. But yeah, this one's pretty cool. Like I said, I have a thing for these type of figures, so I have quite a few of them. But those are just a few of the Dawn ones that I have. But yeah, I think that helicopter zombie one's pretty limited. I think, because I bought it from Jim Crud at his table at Living Dead Weekend a few years back, and it was the last one that he had. So I don't know how many are out there available for people, but yeah, I'm with you, Mayor. Knight Riders figures, little motorcycles and shit. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm with you 100% on that one. Brian said the brewery is just outside of the town and is just outside of town in Creighton. Yeah, okay. I think they do tours. Yeah, they do tours. I was going to take a tour there one of the years I was up there, but I didn't get to. Just didn't work out timing wise. But I have been to the brewery. I did. They do have a store there, and you can buy all kinds of different, Iron City stuff. Like, bought an Iron City sign. That's where I got this hat. My Iron City beer hat. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little spot to check out. It's a little tourist location there. Pretty cool. And I think George's son works there, if I'm not mistaken. I was friends with him on Facebook for quite a while. I haven't seen him recently, so I don't know if he still works there or not. But he was working there. Drew was working there at one point. I know I sound like a stalker. I'm creeping, just like, oh, I know where you work. I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying. I did notice that. Yeah, that's right. Linda Hamilton was in Children of the Corn. That's true. I forget that. I forget about Linda Hamilton in Children of the Corn. It's been a while since I've seen that one, actually. Brian says, I'll order an iron at a bar. Most of us in town will concede Primanti's is overrated. Do Pizza Lupo in Lawrenceville. I'll make a note of that, actually. Because, like I said, I was just in Pittsburgh with Larry, and we were just kind of talking, trying to figure out, where to go eat and stuff. I was like, I don't know. I usually kind of go to the same spots. Like, I rarely eat when I'm in Pittsburgh because I'm just running around doing so much all the time. But usually it's Primanti's. The only Primanti Brothers I've ever been to is the first one, the original one. It's like right in the is it the Strip District, I think is where the first one was. That's the one that I always go to. And that one's just I think it has to do with just kind of the ambiance of the place. Like, it's just like this little hole in the wall spot, and they cook it there right in front of you, and but it's fucking delicious to me. I know that they've branched out, and it's more of like a local chain at this point. I've never been to any other ones outside of it, so I don't know if the quality dips or changes in some of the other ones, outside of the downtown Pittsburgh area. But that's the one and only one that I always go to anytime I'm in Pittsburgh. So, and I love it. I'm I'm a huge fan of Primanti Brothers. But Pizza Lupo, I'm gonna write that down. So maybe this June when I'm in town, try something different. I've tried several different pizza places in Pittsburgh, and I've found one here and there that's it's okay, but nothing's really, as Captain Rhodes would say, nothing has knocked my socks off. Is this the shit that's supposed to knock my socks off? Down Up says the Mayor Knight Rider figures, especially one of Tom Savini lying down in that diorama. There you go. Which, speaking of, I have that on a t-shirt available at shop.alfaromero.store. So if you guys want to wear a t-shirt of Tom Savini looking as sexy as only Tom Savini can look in Knight Riders, there you go. Shop.alfaromero.store. Check it out. Cheap plug. It says, fun fact, the T800 and T1 was technically a zombie the last half. Reese damaged its pump that kept the flesh alive, so the flesh was dead and rotting off. Okay, I can buy that. Yeah, okay. I've never thought of it that way, but I can buy that. Brian says, Carson Street Deli for a sandwich, but that's just me. Carson Street Deli. All right, I'll write that down too. Like I said, anytime I'm in Pittsburgh, and you can ask Will about this, which I think I'm gonna have Will on the stream next weekend. When we're in Pittsburgh, man, I barely make time to eat, and then by the time usually it's time to eat, I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just grab some McDonald's or something. But I'll check that out. I'm gonna write that down. Down is Up says, okay, now that helicopter zombie figure is the bomb. Yeah, it wasn't cheap. Like I said, I don't think there's many of these out there. Like I said, I bought it from Jim Crut directly. I had him sign it. It's pretty freaking cool. But yeah, it wasn't cheap. I think it was like $80 or something like that's what I paid for it, which is crazy to think about. But I did it. I did buy it, $80. So but yeah, I love it. Big fan of it. Big fan of those type of action figures. If you can't tell. Since I almost ordered one of those helicopter zombie figures on eBay last year. Like I said, I don't know how rare they are, so if you see them available, I haven't seen too many available. I think I may have seen one or two pop up on eBay over the past few years, but outside of that, that's why I snagged it up when I saw it at Living Dead weekend, and it was Jim Crud's last one. He had sold the rest of them already, so I was like, all right, well. Which he may have just been putting on the salesman thing, but Jim's such a cool guy. It's just like I gotta have one of these. And he threw in a bunch of really cool stuff with it, so I was like, it's totally worth it. It was worth the $80. John says, from a New York City, Long Islander. Okay. I was like, oh, what is that? From a New York City Long Islander, Permane Brothers is the only place I've eaten at that I loved. Everything else was just, there you go. Thank you, John. Thank you for backing me up on that. Thank you. There he is. Matt Landrum's in the house. I know he was at a concert tonight. He's going to see Bright Eyes tonight in Atlanta. And he was actually at Mad Monster in Atlanta earlier today. Actually got to meet Tom Adkins finally for the first time and find out how truly deaf that man is. But super cool. Like deaf, but fucking awesome. But how you doing, Matt? I'm glad you said you're still going. What kind of toys are we talking about here? Collectibles or dildos or both? Well, you'll just have to go back and rewatch the stream and find out. Either way, you'll want to see it. You'll want to see it. Glad you're able to stop in, man. Great quote from the Terminator. Hey, buddy, you got a dead cat in there? Fuck you, asshole. Great one. Steven says, I believe the Dawn figures are better overall than the Day. The Day figures remind me of the old MASH figures from the 80s. Yeah, that's kind of what they were going for. I think it's kind of what they go for with those things. It's kind of the old figures from back in the day. But yeah, that's kind of all I got to show off. Like I said, I got tons more. I got some Night of the Living Dead figures. I got all kinds of different fucking Dawn of the Dead figures over there, but I figure I'll just stick with the these style of figures. I don't know what you want to call these, the retro, simple figures, whatever. But yeah, I figure it was a good night to pull out some of this stuff that I just don't really show off too often. But it all starts here. You guys want this in your possession? Tonight or tomorrow is the last day to sign up to submit your bracket in the March Madness King of the Zombies bracket challenge. Winner will receive this brand new Jordy Verrill Creepshow action figure from MONSTARZ. So there it is. If you guys want that, you saw me submit my bracket earlier. You know who I'm picking. So if you want to take it from me, it's on the table. It's available. Yeah, I agree, Brett. Martin needs an action figure with a stake accessory or syringe. I don't care, custom, whatever. Like, take my money. You make a Martin action figure or a Cuda action figure. Yeah, fuck it. I'll buy it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Sent. Bootleg figure special. Bootleg figure special. I like that. It says we should have a Blades and Sex Machine duo pack. Well, that's fine because I mean, I guess more people are more familiar with Tom Savini as Sex Machine and From Dusk Till Dawn, especially like modern fans. So when I went to see Land of the Dead in the theater, when Blades shows up in Land of the Dead, I swear to God, a guy in the theater was like, Sex Machine! And I was like, not quite. So yeah, that would make total sense. But I mean, if you look at fucking Tom Savini's Blades and Land of the Dead, he does just kind of look like a zombie version of Sex Machine. Matt's saying, yeah, Tom is admittedly as deaf as a brick that I had him sign, like, he has to read lips. What a guy, though. Yeah, I mentioned that because, like, when me and Will went up to him and talked to him at Living Dead Weekend back in June, and Will was trying to tell him, like, hey, I'm from Bowling Green, where John Carpenter's from, and Tom had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. He was just like, huh? What? John Carpenter? Oh, yeah, I've worked with John Carpenter. Huh? What? And finally, Will just looked at me and was just like, I can't do it. I'm just like, just wave and shake hands. But I mean, Tom is like just the coolest guy, funny as shit, like always with a joke. I've met him 3 times now. Yeah, I think I've met him 3 times now, and all 3 times, like, just the coolest fucking guy. And his jokes, like, if you take him the wrong way, you can kind of think like he's being kind of an asshole. But it's just like his way of like joking about something. It's just kind of like, oh, what do you want? You know? Oh God. Like when me and Will went up, he was just like, oh man, I'm supposed to be gone by now. Like, when the hell am I gonna eat my dinner here? And he just kind of laughs. He's like, oh no, I'm just kidding. Come on over. Tom's great. I'm glad you finally got to meet him today. And you got that brick sign that you got from the factory from Halloween 3, so that's pretty damn cool too. And what did he say? I think you put in your post. He says like, "Oh God, you're one of those brick guys" or something like that. That's funny. Nathan, what's going on, Nathan? And the director's cut. Are you talking about Martin? I think I remember you commenting about the Martin director's cut here recently. I fully agree. The 2.5 black and white cut. I don't know what's going to happen with that, when we're going to see that, if we're going to see that. It's in good hands. It's at the archive in Pittsburgh, at the University of Pittsburgh. It's in the Romero archive, so it's in good hands. It's not going to disappear or anything. So it's there. It's preserved. It's fine. But from what I've heard, there's no plans for it anytime in the near future, a screening or release or anything like that. And plus, I think the rights, which we mentioned a few weeks ago, I think we were talking about, the copyright issue with Night of the Living Dead and the rights and all that, but like, so the people, I guess, just assume that the rights to that cut, the black and white 2.5 hour cut of Martin, I think people assume that Richard Rubenstein owns the rights to that, but there is a possibility that there is no copyright on that because it's pre-78 when the copyright law changed. I don't know. I'd have to look at it to see, but but like I said, there's no plans for it anytime soon, so I don't know what's going to come of that. But yes, I'm 100% with you, Nathan. That is my dream white whale Romero thing to see. Is that cut of Martin? One of these days, I don't care what I got to do to make it happen. I'll do it. Just tell me. Well, good to see you in here, man. Exploding head figure, Frozen Tom. That's a good question to kind of end the show tonight. What do you guys think is a Romero figure or collection? Like we said, the Knight Riders figure. Like I'd love to have a Knight Riders collection of figures. I don't know how well they would sell, or they'd be pretty, But what are some Romero figures, or that you guys would like to see available? Honestly, an exploding head figure frozen in time is not a bad idea. Like I would buy that. That's the thing about Dawn of the Dead figures. Like any Dawn of the Dead figure, give me a nurse zombie figure, give me a sweater zombie figure, anything. Like, but we've gotten so many Flyboy and airport zombie figures at this point. It's like, I want like one of the main 4, Peter, Roger, Fran, Flyboy. Give me that. Or a exploding head figure, nurse zombie figure. Hell, give me. There's a mold for this out there that should have had. I don't know whatever happened to it. It was supposed to be released at one point, but there was a mold out there of Roger, a figure of Roger in the bed as a zombie. Like, give me that. I would love to have that. But it's like with Dawn of the Dead, it's like the only thing that ever really gets licensed out is, outside of the one Hare Krishna zombie figure that they came out with, it's just always airport zombie or Flyboy, which, don't get me wrong, I love them, but I'd love to have something different. Like, I'd love to have different characters, different zombies. Something like what Trick or Treat Studios is doing with the Day of the Dead figures that are coming out that we talked about. Do something like that. Give me a nurse zombie, or which, I mean, I guess it comes down to maybe a rights thing or something. I don't know. Maybe they would have to sign like a likeness contract with Sharon Hill and all those people. I don't know how that works. I'm not the businessman that knows how that works. I'm thinking Richard Rubenstein would just be like, yeah, do it, but I don't know how that works. But yeah. Well, what are some that you guys like to see? Tom Atkins, super cool in person. Yeah, he really is. Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, like I said, the first time I met Tom Atkins, 2008, and he, we're sitting there talking to him, and he just starts cussing Elvira for no reason. Like, not for no reason. I mean, she was kind of being a super fucking diva all weekend, and I think finally he just had enough, and was just like, hey, thanks for showing up, bitch. That type of thing. And me and my cousin were just like, holy shit, this is the greatest fucking day of our life. Like, we just stood here and watched Tom Atkins call Elvira a bitch. And we were just like, this is awesome. But Tom's the man. Tom's the man. As I'm saying, hands down, you have one of the best collections of George A. Romero zombie films. It's amazing. Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Like I said, I know there's collectors like Larry's. I pale in comparison to Larry's collection of just Romero stuff. Collections in general. I mean, there's so many. Jace Whitman, if you guys are not following him on YouTube, Music and Monsters, check it out. He does Thursday of the Dead every Thursday, and he just is showing his collection and stuff that he's picking up, and it's most of the time it's like 90% Romero stuff, but he'll throw in some Fulci stuff, he'll throw in different zombie stuff from different films. But check him out, Music and Monsters. Highly recommend it. And that dude's got a hell of a collection. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of shit, but I know I bow to I know people that I'm just like, holy shit, like, what a collection. But I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Since Alpha never say I'll do anything to. I mean, there's not much that I wouldn't do to see that cut of Martin. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a line somewhere, but I just can't think of it at this moment, Seth. I just can't think of it. Let's see. Matt says I'd love a nurse zombie figure. Yeah, that'd be great. Even just a non-licensed custom figure. I don't know if I've ever even seen a non-licensed zombie, because I know there's like back in the day there was like those Japanese figures that you could paint. They were like kind of had the big heads and stuff. They had those at like the main forecast, and I know that there was one of like Lenny Lee's the Machete Zombie, and one of Tom Savini's Blades. I've seen those, and those are fucking super expensive. I'd love to have those, but anytime that's rare that they pop up on eBay, but when they do, I mean, it's, $400 or $500 easy for those. But yeah, I'd love Nurse Zombie. That would be great. I'd love that. I'd love one of Nurse Zombie and Sweater Zombie. It'd be fucking perfect, but I don't know why they've never done that. That's a good one, Nathan. Dawn of the Dead makeshift apartment diorama. That's actually a really, really badass idea, actually. I'd love to have that. Down is up saying there's a cool resin kit of Roger in the Bed. It's on eBay, I believe. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I've seen that. It's not painted or anything. And again, it's one of those things, it's like, every now and then you'll see them pop up on eBay. But it's too rich for my blood. Like, this is too much money for even me. I can't do it. Nathan says Galen and Zombie making hand contact over the glass might be a cool figure. Yeah, give me a Box Arco Pitcairn Zombie for sure. With the nun. Yeah, hell yeah, give me that. Yeah, Bonnie, Rifle Zombie. Hell yeah, Jay Stover. Give me that. That would be perfect. Fucking Jay Stover with the fucking rifle, just holding it up. Look, like, hell yeah, that's a brilliant one. I'd love to have that one. There's a good one. Mailbox 22 football player zombie. Yeah, there's so many out there that they could do. I don't know why they don't expand a little more. Whatever. Yeah, we'll go with rifle. I think rifle zombie works. I think we all get it because I mean it's technically a rifle, I guess. Matt says, "Did you submit an entry for Jace's latest content?" I haven't yet. I have thought about it. I'm looking for something first before I submit it. I don't want to spoil what it is, but I'm looking for something first before I submit it. There's a photo that I would love to share in the spirit of the contest, but I cannot find that fucking photo anywhere. I'm looking through all kinds of files and stuff right now to see if I can find it, but no, I'm planning on doing it. But yes, Jace is running a contest as well over on his channel, Music and Monsters. Check it out. He's giving away one of the statue, which I think is it Trick or Treat Studios that did those statues too? Because I have the one of the airport zombie. Of the Fulci's zombie, the zombie from Fulci's zombie, the cover zombie. And so check that out. Go check out his page. You send a video kind of explaining, or showing off a collectible like a Fulci collectible, or telling a story, or something. Just sending a video to his channel, kind of talking about Fulci, and you're entered into the contest. And it's a pretty badass giveaway, because I know those things usually go for at least $100, and the fact that he's giving one of those away is pretty awesome. But no, like I'm planning on submitting, but I'm like I said, I'm trying to find something first. It's a photo that I need to find, but I have no idea where to fucking find it. But it exists somewhere, goddammit. But yeah, check out Music and Monsters on YouTube for sure. If you like watching me show off, whatever shit I got, like go check it. It's impressive. And that's like I need to get on. I think I'm gonna need to get him on the channel for Collecting the Dead soon. Is try to get Jace on here to show just some of what he's got, because you talk about a dude that's got a little bit of everything. He's got a little bit of everything. See, Ed saying I like Funko Pops. Wouldn't mind seeing a bunch of those in various sets. That's true. There aren't a whole lot of Romero Funko Pops. I know that they did a Jordy Verrill Funko Pop here recently. I have seen that. Yeah, I think that may be the only Romero. I know the Creep. I think they've done a Creep Funko Pop from Creep Show. But I think that's the only Romero-related Funko Pops that they've done so far, unless I'm missing some. I'm not the biggest Funko Pop collector. Like, that's not really my area of expertise. But as far as I can think of, I think that's the only two Romero-related Funkos that they've done so far. Could be wrong about that. Since it says I want the jewelry zombie and mid-scream and the fat guy. Yeah, give me all of them. Fuck it. Like I'm with you. Like, fat guy falls in the fountain. Give me that. Give me the jewelry. The lady with all the jewelry. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Anything Dawn of the Dead, I'll buy it. I mean, come on. Let's be real. Down is upset. There's a cool Monroeville Mall playset with the helicopter on the roof. I do have that as well. It's the Hawthorne Village. It's like those little villages that you buy during Christmas time that light up, and you've got the little train that goes around. I do have that one. They also have one for the airport and the trucks to kind of commemorate both of those scenes. I don't have those. Those are expensive as shit. If you see those pop up on eBay, like, you can usually get the mall with the helicopter and everything complete, because I'm telling you, those things are so fragile that, like, if you breathe on them wrong, like, shit will break off. But you can find one at the mall for $200 sometimes, usually for a good price, $200. The other ones, like the other two, usually I rarely will find those for less than $400 or $500. They're pretty cool, but it's like, I'm good with the mall. But I do have the mall, the Hawthorne Village one though, and it's pretty cool. It's one of my favorite collectibles because it lights up. Like, the mall actually lights up. It's got a little thing, and the mall lights up, and It's nice, you know. It feels it's like a Christmas decoration, but you know, my kind of Christmas decoration. As I'm saying, Zombie's tagline was incredible. We will eat you. Yeah, pretty straightforward, and to the point. So, yeah, love Fulci Zombie. Mess says I submitted mine last week. You definitely need Jace on your show, great dude. Yeah, I've been meaning to reach out to him. Yeah, I'd love to get him on and just kind of talk to him and get to know him a little better, and just kind of look at some of his collection, because my God, I've been following his channel since back when he was doing Dawn of the Dead Thursdays. Every Thursday was just Dawn of the Dead stuff, so that was like right up my alley. But and his music is good too, like the Night God stuff that he does. I really like a lot of that stuff. The song October is one that's on my Spotify playlist and has been for quite a while. It's up my alley too. So. But yeah, I'm gonna reach out to Jace. I'm gonna try to get Jace on the channel before too long. Do a Collecting the Dead with Jace. And I need to get Ed back on here because we got to see the rest of his cabin. So, yeah, there's plenty of shows to do throughout the rest of the year as we're moving towards Living Dead weekend. I think next week, I think we're gonna have the return of Will Phelps. We've been talking about. He's been trying to find some time to get back on the channel, so I think I'm gonna have Will back on next week. Then the week after that, I'm gonna bring on Dirk and Darren from the Eurocrypt podcast, and we're gonna discuss the European versions of Romero's films, if you want to call them that: Vampire, Zombie, and Two Evil Eyes. And just kind of get to know those guys and just bullshit and chat about whatever pops up. But you know how it is, how these streams go. There's a topic that we'll touch on at some point. But you know, when we start getting into the chat and going back and forth, and who knows what the hell we'll talk about. But I'm looking forward to getting those guys on, because they're really cool guys, and it's going to be interesting because they're not the biggest fans of Dawn of the Dead. So I'm looking forward to talking to them about that. But so yeah, looking forward to that. What else we got? Like I said, tomorrow's the last day to submit the bracket and enter the contest to win the brand new green variant Jordy Verrill Creepshow action figure. Like I said, I will put it in either in a comment or something after I'm done with the stream. I'll put the link to submit your bracket. You have until tomorrow. The deadline is tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern time, and tonight's daylight savings time. So keep that in mind. But go submit your bracket. Best of luck to you. May the best man win, or lady, best woman or man. And then voting will begin on Monday morning at 8 a.m. The competition will begin of who will be crowned the official, because there's not going to be anything more official than you guys deciding the outcome of this, of who will be the official king of the Romero zombies. Who will it be? Shop.alpharomero.store. Make sure you guys check that out. Like I mentioned earlier, got a new t-shirt available, new design up. It's Tom Savini in all of his glory, and looking as only Tom Savini can look in Knight Riders, I'll say. Check that out. There's all kinds of different shit on different designs and stuff in that store. So if you got a little extra money and you want to wear some cool Romero gear, check it out. Shop.alpharomero.store. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're checking this out for the first time, always hit that sub. I appreciate it. Notifications bell. If you never want to miss whatever the hell I'm up to, hit that as well. I appreciate it. Really enjoyed everybody in the chat tonight. It's been good. Good chatting with all you guys. Got a couple more comments here real quick before we get out of here. Since it says I chatted with Dirk and Darren about my love of Dawn offline after my stream with them. I'd love to hear about that. Because yeah, Synth was on their podcast, I don't know, about a month or so back, talking about Demons and Demons 2 and the Church as well, which is kind of unofficially Demons 3. But yeah, go check that out on their channel. It's the Eurocrypt podcast, Subjective Perspective Collective. You can find it there, or on the Dead Pit. They do a stream on the Dead Pit channel. So Downs Up said, thanks for another great live stream. Michael, have a great night, everyone. Thank you very much, Down is Up. I appreciate you as always, my man. Synth, pleasure as always. Always good having you in the chat. Nathan, good to see you in the chat as well, sir. And let's see, Ed. Good to see Ed. Time to roll out, guys, later. Bonnie Bailey, always a pleasure seeing Bonnie. Good night, fun as always. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. But yeah, so that's going to do it for tonight. I will be back next week, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm going to try to get Will back on next week. We're going to hang out and talk a little Romero and kind of catch up with Will. But until then, you guys have a great rest of the night, a great rest of the week, and always, always stay scared.